Okay.
So we got Pad Gra. How do I say this? What is this?
What is that?
Pad Gra Prow? I don't know. Thai beef and basil stir fry. I want to say it right, but I don't know how to say it properly. So it's Thai beef and basil stir fry, steamed jasmine rice, vegetable stir fry, Thai cabbage salad. Sounds absolutely delicious to me. So I think we got a good one here for lunch, although I'm getting the salad anyways. NVIDIA bouncing off VWAP. I'm going to look to get into that one, see if we can't rip it back up as the market takes it lower and lower. Lots of small caps moving around, so I know Sharif is going to be having fun. And a great AMD short. We'll see how that went with Joe. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. Now we got the Bash Brothers.
Take it easy, guys.
Boom! Oh, we didn't even get the intro today, man.
Assassino, he's throwing curveballs today. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Midday Show. That right there is your boy, Joey Options, and I'm Sharif. And it is a good morning here, Joseph. I know you had a monster bang.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
Okay. We got Donald, we got the squats, we got a dare yelling in the background. What's going on, beautiful people? Let's shout everybody out. Joe Hossman, Joe Paul, shout out to the 420 Bud Monster Daily Day Trade. Shout out to Buvin, the OG, Ryan, Dreamscape. Grateful for Bitcoin. You and I both, brother. JD is best. Shout out to the OG Gorav, Mr. Easy Street, and Ben, the OG of the OGs. I'm talking about the OG Darwin, Cosmic Consciousness. We got Sports and Stonks, Bodgan Slem, not Bodgan off. JJ, Antoine, Esvin, Levi Corbett, Sir David of Smooshalot, Darth Trader, PC Hoon, and King Clutch 007. I like that one name as well. Eric Noss, not Michael Noss, and he's got a K there too. We got No Sense, Jag D Mag, Mr. Ian, Jaguar Not. I like that. A couple of more here. GlazeNet, Robert Santos, Do It, and Vinado. Good morning to everybody. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day on these here markets. So many trades to talk about. Joseph, good morning, brother.
Good
morning. Good morning.
Let's say the other one. Good morning, Vietnam, but I don't know.
Oh, that is a good one, actually.
Yeah, good morning, Vietnam. What's up, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday. Your boy is. We're having a good time this morning. We got some rest, so you can see I'm a little bit more lively this today, but that's some good stuff. Never mind all how I'm feeling. What we want to talk about is what we've been cooking up in these markets. First things first. Let's talk about our losses, because that's really important as well, too, right? Because we want to keep those as small as we possibly can. Looking for the continuation, slight delay. I mean, if I got in right at the volume-weighted average price, then I would have looked to take some off at that failed break of the pre-market high, but that wasn't the case. I add on for what I was looking for an ABCD pattern, but unfortunately that did not work and we got stopped out. Then we curl back around. It looked like we were going to break up, but it said, we have other plans today, Joseph, and then we got stopped out right there. So we went over 2 on NVDA, but that's okay, because then we hammer some AMD shorts here right at the peak, and then we get that move all the way through VWAP. So this was trade number 1, and then now we're just cooking up in trade number 2. So we're sitting pretty good today. And also, I sold 2 IBIT contracts. I sold half of my NVDA position, and I sold 33% of my Google position to lock in some money. Because when I seen NVDA gap up 10 points today, you gotta take some profits. I don't even care. Swing alert, Mitch, my guy. I don't know if you're listening. Swing alert, hitting grand slams around here. No, I shouldn't say that, but we're doing pretty good, and I won't complain. But that's all I got going on. I'm trading the chips this morning, and I was looking at the overall market, but we're going to stick to things that are working for us, and that's why I decided to take that second opportunity in AMD. Sharif, what do you got?
All right, man. There's a bunch of small caps running. Like I want to say, there's probably been better days for small caps than today. We don't really have any big okay, so that's wrong. We do have big percentage winners, but they're kind of giving up the ghost. CYCC, kind of the biggest of them all right now. What a move this one's had, about 258%, and we're well off the highs. We are halted down again. So the last halt, this one up here, that was a 10-minute halt, so be on the lookout there. This is I don't know, could be an 8-minute or a 5-minute halt. We'll see. So remember, they come in waves of 10. I'm talking about CYCC. It's kind of in between the 10 and the 20 exponential right now on the halt level, with 859 being the volume weighted average price. But the one I'm involved in right now to the high side, and it just took out all my prints, baby. Give me my money. Let's go ahead and set up big moves here for USAR. We'll continue to take prints into the 80s. I'm setting up at 88s, and then I'm going to set up at 90. What are we showing? We're showing 85s. This is a 10 EMA bounce. We're long at 70s. I've scalped up, I don't want to say half the position, maybe a little bit less. So we'll see if this one wants to hold up at the 10 EMA. I'm going to keep my eye out on that one. I'm not sure what's going on with the position board, guys. I'm sure we'll have that fixed right soon. Also, long criminal CRML. This one is a former convict. I don't mean that to be a pun, but that was literally the case, because we were trading this one a few days ago. CRML, headed back to the upside over here. This is a VWAP bounce, but it is rejecting the 10 EMA from the south side as opposed to the north side. So I'm keeping my eye here on a general $0.50 hold. It's generally in and around there, okay? So that's what I'm keeping my eye on now. Also, I want to let you know I'm keeping my eye on ZEPP. I'm kind of disappointed with the fact that I didn't get the fill here. I tried to take a dip off the 10 EMA, where the 10 EMA was at the time. It bounced into 40s. I had my order at 33s, and now it's rocketed back up to 80s. So a little annoying when that happens, but that's kind of the way it is. Now, with respect to ZEPP, what I'm keeping my eye on here is liquidity. It's a little bit light on volume, having only traded about 1 million shares on the day. It's not that expensive. It's 12 and change, so it should be doing a bit more. That's the bad side of the trade there, or the equation. The good side of the equation is it's got a hell of a chart pattern on its hands. So initial bull flag off the open. We're forming bull flag number 2. If you're a newer trader, bull flags are big moves up, so kind of almost vertical, maybe 85, 75-degree angle to the high side, and then you have a period of consolidation. Each one is created differently. Some are longer, some are shorter, and then you have another consolidation in another bull flag. So you see this breakout again. That's bull flag number 2. Whether we get bull flag number 3, your guess is as good as mine. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on ZEPP. One more over here, YOUL. This one just weaseled its way onto the scene not that long ago. I think the volume bars really started showing up on my chart at around 10:45. And here it is again, holding above VWAP, holding above that 3 1/4, 3 1/5, rocketing back up to 340. It's got a high day of 361, but you can see none of the closing prints actually printed, or closed above that 340 level. So it is holding VWAP. It's got a bit of a range on its hands. I don't mind punching into this one either if it sets up the right way. YOUL is the ticker. So we're in criminal, and we're in this one, USAR, which again took out all my orders here, Joey. So I've got to set up some more. Let's go ahead set up at 93s, and then we're going to get a little bit more aggressive with a print nearer that whole dollar, but it's still zigging and zagging to that 10 EMA, my man.
Good look there, guys. All right, yeah, so we're just cooking up. Oscarito, thanks for pointing that out. UXRP coming out, a 2x leverage XRP ETF coming to the NYSE and the Nasdaq, or Amex and Nasdaq, I believe he said. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I'm really curious to see how that's going to be trading, and even if it's liquid. I think it's really popular. It's probably Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP. I don't know in that specific order. I know the top 2 are correct. But yeah, that's going to be a good one there, Oscarito. And Pug Life, way to crush those contracts. 165. Thanks for paying for my house to be painted. NVDA, appreciate it. Yeah, it's honestly so wicked when you put on those types of trades and you're just like, all right, that's paid for. That's paid for. And it's a really good feeling. Man. But I also want to talk about Bitcoin. I was looking for a significantly bigger move, and I was kind of mad at myself this morning, because what I did is that when we had that massive gap up come Monday morning, what I could have done is I could have just sold 200 shares, right? I had 3 contracts. I could have sold 200 shares and locked in the profit for 2 of those contracts. I'm going to leave you guys on the cliffhanger. We're going to go to Adair, and then we'll get right back to what I was talking about.
I like it.
Sorry to interrupt. I guess that cliffhanger. Excited to see what the end is here. But keep an eye on META. We do have Meta reportedly facing a new EU tech antitrust clash after a €2 million fine. Apparently, the EU is warning that Meta still has not fixed its pay or consent ad model. I'm seeing a couple different people report this. We know that they have had some issues with that pay or consent ad model from the EU, so it's unclear, how new this is or what updates this are. If I do find anything out, I will let you guys know right away. I also want to let you guys know about Tesla. I did mention earlier, Wall Street Journal reporting that Troy Jones, who had been with the company for 15 years as their VP sales exec in North America, he's now leaving the company. So I looked a little bit more into his background. He's been at Tesla for the last 15 years. I went on his LinkedIn. He didn't have much experience before then, though he did work for CoStar Group, which is another publicly traded company here, I believe CGSP, for about 6 years. But his ex, much like what we saw with Omid Afshar, who's another recent person to exit Tesla after many years, much like Omid, Troy was posting about Tesla on X in the weeks leading up to his leaving. The most recent posts here are all just him reposting or quote tweeting Tesla or Elon Musk. So really interesting here. I don't have any more details, but I did do a quick deep dive here for you on Troy Jones. And now let's see the end of that cliffhanger.
Oh, all right, Bang, let's go. I'm ready. All right, so essentially what could have happened is we have this massive move up in the pre or the post market, and it's like, well, what can I do? I can't really close my contracts. I can't open up anymore. So there's a way that you can lock in profit. So say I had 2 contracts of IBIT, and I noticed that gap up bright and early in the morning. So, okay, hold on one second. I got to take something off. Another cliffhanger your boy's leaving you on. I got to take a little bit more A&P off there. Okay, so anyways, back to what I was getting at. So you have 2 contracts, and you're like, ooh, we get this massive gap up, but I don't want to wait until 9:30 open. So what essentially you can do is you can sell 200 shares against those contracts. So you have your 2 calls, and then you short 200 shares. So what happens if your contract starts to appreciate? Shares, obviously, you start to lose money on. But also, if the contract starts to depreciate, that means the shares are starting to appreciate. So what essentially it does is it locks in a fixed price, and you have the ability to lock in that set amount of gains. And I didn't realize that till this morning when I was kicking myself. I'm like, Joseph, you big blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you should have done this. And I'm looking at my phone, and I was mad. And I'm going through my account, and I'm like, wait, something's not right here.
Why was something not right, Joey? Because there was a lot of money there.
Because the trading gods, bullish, and Maximus, bearish, was looking out for your boy. Because NVDA gaps up $10. And I'm like, let's go. And that's exactly what we did. So, yeah, that's just one way. And I don't know why Tim Solveig, I don't know why you got to say that. Someone who has high energy,
who's that,
they don't necessarily have to be on narcotics, man. Come on, get real and grow up a little bit.
Bro, he's busy. He's busy right now. He's in mommy's basement. He's got one hand somewhere where the sun don't shine. The other hand is punching into bad position. Use the hand to hit the like button and then get out.
That guy's red on the day for sure. But anyways, that's what I'm getting at. So I was frustrated at myself, but the gods were looking out for me this morning, and then I had the appreciation in NVDA, and that worked out really, really well for me. Adara, what do you got for us?
Thank you for that lovely little transition there, Joe. I do want to let you guys know Chris Wright, who is, of course, the U.S. Energy Secretary previously involved with OKLO or OKLO. Chris Wright is currently speaking on Bloomberg Business. It's also worth noting we're going to have crypto czar David Sachs speak there at 11:45 a.m. I suspect that the David Sachs portion of events might be more notable, but either way, I've got the Bloomberg business feed running, so if there is anything of note said by either of these gentlemen when they speak, I, of course, will keep you all apprised. Also, I have a bit of a question here for Sharif before I do the throw. So I'm actually legitimately curious. We're talking about how it's been a pretty good day for small caps. So I guess, how would you gauge what is a good or bad day for small caps? Is it about the number of quality names running? Okay.
First way, how many triple-digit winners do we have on the day? We got a couple right now, but what are they doing? Are they pulling back off highs, or how are they acting? Secondly, the ones that are basically bumping up, breaking the volume-weighted average price into highs, and then not holding up at VWAP and dropping below VWAP. If I see a lot of those, I'd be like, maybe the small caps don't have that longevity or the strength that they maybe typically do on a good day. So that's what I typically gauge. If we got a lot that were making big boy moves and then they're giving up, typically what I look at is VWAP above or below VWAP. You know that's one of my rules. So that's kind of what I look at there. Thanks for that, Adara. All right, so do you want to finish your story, or are you done?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm done.
You're pretty done.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't even know where I was going at with it, really. But no, I was just using the example. In all reality, I was just how you can lock in gains and have a fixed, like, unrealized P&L to make it somewhat realized without necessarily realizing the profit, obviously, leading into the open. And that's how you either, if you have puts, you go long the shares, and if you have calls, you just go short the shares, and that will just pin your price, and then that's how you lock in contract profits.
You have anything to say, Ob? Oh, he was listening. Okay, I felt.
Realize as well, so I was like, realize.
So Obi was hearing a lot of realize, so he's looking at the realize. He wanted to know why the word realize was being used so much. I mean, that's a... It caught his attention. I love Obi. Shout out to my man, Ob. He is the one. He is the one. Cano. All right, guys, let's talk about these trades right now. USAR, we've taken a bunch of this one out into the high side. I'm zooming out. I should be zooming in. We still have a couple of unfilled ones here in the mid-90s. It's still holding up, but it's not a rocket ship. I'm talking about USAR. Not a bad look right now. Going to keep an eye out on this one. Also, I'm taking prints here on criminal. I've taken them all the way up into 67. We're long at 55. This is not the biggest mover as well. And I'm seeing a lot of downward pressure. So this one bounces up off VWAP nicely, but it doesn't have that sustained momentum. So we're not getting that V-shaped retracement back into that $0.75 or into the high of the day, which is at 4/5. But YOUL is breaking out. Now the volume is there. It's starting to pick up a little bit more. It's still south of 1 million, but the volume that is. But now it's starting to show me that, you know, more people are starting to participate in it. And you can see the orders are coming in larger. You're seeing thousands, you're seeing high hundreds, etc. That's kind of what I want to see for the liquidity side of things with YOUL. But ANPA, okay, we got to get to this one because this one is really moving. It's 2 halts to the upside. And here we go again on ANPA. Keep your eye out on this one. This one is holding 7 generally. Does it have the juice to hold 7? It's dipping a little bit. Wow, it just lost $1 quicker than you can say dollar. It was at 716. Now it's going to halt down at 601. These ones are around for a good time. They're not going to be around for a long time. Be careful. We're going to halt at 602. We are halted at 602 on ANPA. 98% in Greensville. And guess what?
What?
Even I do that to you all the time. I get thrown when someone does it to me. Even though, Joseph, we're halted to the downside, tell me where this candle's low is relative to the prior candle. Do we have higher lows? Yeah. We do. We do. So this one's still in play, well above the volume weighted average price, well above the 10 EMA. I'm going to be keeping my eye here on ANPA. ANPA, and here's the information on it in case you want it. Let me just load up my trade idea screen. ANPA. Let's find out what we got in here in terms of float and short float. This one's got a 12.5 million share float. I'll compare that to my platform in a second, but we don't have the short float, sadly, on it. By the way, remember we were talking about Perplexity yesterday and how it was being used by a lot of the finance bros? And I was telling you, Chamath wants to cancel his Bloomberg terminal in exchange for... So Brenda was telling me about that. Apparently, it's amazing. It gives you short floats, all things like super quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weasel up my Perplexity screen here in a second.
Wayner was telling me there's so many things, like you almost have to implement some of these AI features into your trading now.
I think that's a kind of required thing here. Sorry to keep you waiting, Adair.
I want to let you guys know, I mentioned earlier, we're expecting David Sachs, who is the currently AI and crypto czar under the Trump administration. He was supposed to speak, I was seeing on Bloomberg at 11:45. Well, sounds like he's already speaking on CNBC because I'm reading some comments coming through from him. And he's not a huge fan of what's happening here with these chips being sold in China. He said to CNBC, and I quote, "We shouldn't be selling our best chips to China, and that it's important that they take the market share from Huawei in China." It's unclear how he wants that to be achieved if we're not selling chips to China, but I guess he doesn't want them to sell the best chips to China. He just wants them to sell some chips to China and try to take away Huawei's market share. Interesting approach here from crypto and AI czar David Sachs. But again, we're expected to hear from David Sachs again, more from as far as I can tell, more on the crypto side of things at this 11:45 Bloomberg interview. I will stay posted. But long story short, David Sachs not a fan of selling top AI chips to China. Back to you.
Like David Sachs.
You like David Sachs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously you don't want to sell your top AI chips to China, but you want to sell some form of
Yeah, well, we're not even
right?
talking about even selling the H100, Joseph.
Yeah,
we're talking about the H20, not the GB200 or the 300. Like, come on.
The Grace Blackwell there. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about Google. Someone in the chat mentioned this one as well. So I'm like, let's touch on this from a daily standpoint. So a nice move, but this is what I was referring to on multiple occasions, guys. If we had the ability to hold this 181 level, then I think there's going to be a nice move. And I was talking to Sharif this morning before we came on air, and I'm like, you know what? I used the reference of how much space and how much data NVDA collects with just 1 hour of using an autonomy vehicle. It fills up like 270 iPhones. Well, we have Waymo with Google, and that's why I believe that cloud for this quarter is going to be a beat. They lost last quarter, and we also have this AI boom. This race is starting to amp up even more than what it is, and I think that Google, leading into its earnings report, can run into this possible gap here, and they just continue climbing this price. So Google is a pretty good look, and we're holding that key resistance level now acting as support on the daily. So I think there can be some big potential moves. And then also, if we just zoom out a little bit, you can see that this channel is holding up extremely well. This is a beautiful channel to the top side. Top side. And there it is. So at some point, I think we are going to catch up. It will reach those previous all-time highs. It's just a matter of if, and maybe not a matter of when, but not if. And for me, it's the earnings report is what I'm getting at. And I think Google Cloud is going to be really, really big. They may, obviously, they're going to lose market share to ChatGPT. I think that's inevitable. But what Google Cloud can bring to the table, I think is going to be a big move for Alphabet. Absolutely.
And you know what I asked Chat the other day? I'm like, when are you going to put ads in your feed? And it's like, it answered me, it's like, we know. Ads are inevitable in LLMs. It's just a matter of time. But nobody's done it, dog.
Not
like,
yet.
well, not that I've seen anyway. Adara, what's up?
What's up, Sharif, is actually Instacart, C-A-R-T, making a push to the upside. I'm seeing this post on X kind of being circulated. Apparently, again, I can't tell if this is a report or if it's officially announced, but California Governor Gavin Newsom announcing the launch of the California Breakthrough Project. Apparently, there's leaders from a whole bunch of companies, including Ripple, Coinbase, etc. The only stock that's moving on this is Instacart, because apparently Instacart and Snapchat, as well as Andro leaders, are all going to be part of this project. I'm waiting for more details on this because it's all pretty vague. But regardless, Instacart stock seems to like this story about this California task force. Again, super vague. I do apologize. Not a lot of details here. But I also want to talk about NVIDIA again because there's more comments here in that CNBC interview with AI and crypto czar David Sachs for the White House. He basically said here that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is a great advocate for sales to China, but that apparently NVIDIA's chip sales to China are still part of broader discussions. So he's being very cagey here with regards to NVIDIA and these chip sales to China. That is, of course, David Sachs, AI and White House crypto czar. He also mentioned Visa and MasterCard just now. He said that Visa and MasterCard will be more comfortable with stablecoins. Unclear the specifics of that, but apparently very much making room for stablecoins here is David Sachs in his interview with CNBC. Back to you.
David. I like David because we're born on the same day. Sorry. Ooh. I have a little bit of a bias there.
Ooh, all right.
And I also don't like Jason Calacanis at all.
Oh, really, eh?
At all.
I know you didn't.
I dislike him more than I dislike Andrew Ross Sorkin.
Really?
Yeah, like substantially more. I just don't like Calacanis at all.
Do you think Sorkin is your obvious? Oh, so you like you?
I dislike Calacanis way more.
Wow.
Like I find Sorkin tolerable, and like I disagree with him on almost everything. But I bet you if we went out, like I probably wouldn't mind him as an individual. You know what I mean? Probably.
Or you would want to
obviously very smart.
Or you would want to punch him in the face. It's either or.
Well, no, because like we're constantly disagreeing. Adara and I constantly disagree. Obi and I constantly disagree. I don't want to punch anybody in the face. You know, I love all you guys.
Maybe I gotta think. Just go over my.
You like to hit people though.
I don't. I don't. No, I don't want it to ever lead to that. No.
I love you, Jog. We're having a wicked time.
Rocket Lab, yeah. Rocket Lab looking really good here for the individual who pointed this one out. A nice move off of the bottom, you can see, and now we're climbing. Let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily. Oh, wow. Okay, is this all times? Is this all-time high? Let's mark it out here to see if we can get $45 on Rocket Lab. 45.20. Okay, 21. Yeah, so a really good look there on Rocket Lab, and there you go, a big-time breakout. This is what we talk about, and a lot of us talk about this. I know Michael Knotts was referring to buying the all-time highs when a stock's making a move like this towards the all-time highs. For me, I've come to the conclusion, and I've observed enough that okay, when you've made that move, the chances of it making an all-time high are a little bit are increased, because there's going to be leading into new price discovery. So you break that, people think, hey, okay, we think that it's fair value at the previous all-time high, and then you can head into price discovery, and then that's when you can start to see the appreciation. So some nice moves in Rocket Lab there, my friend.
All right, I see Kappa, Amir, Barak. I do see Kappa, but it's below VWAP right now. I want to talk about a couple of things here. I'm likely going to flatten out. So I got stopped out of USAR, still profitable trade for me, but I moved up my stop from 50 to 60 because of this. This is a very clear trend line that's being respected right now by the sellers, by the short sellers or the profit takers, and we're unable to breach it. This is USAR, but I'm sadly seeing a very similar pattern on criminal, CRML. Where we're getting we're getting lower highs, and it's obviously using this trend line here to kind of keep things down. So we're long 54s, it's dropping back into 60s. I will give this to 50, okay? So I'll give it to 50. That gives me a little bit of room below the volume weighted average price, which currently on my chart is 52. CRML is what I'm talking about. Amir Barak was asking me about Kappa. Kappa has a great day today, about 91%. But here's the problem with Kappa. It has a pre-market high higher than the official high of the day, which has to take place after 9:30. So look at that 920 doji candle, got up to $1.87. The official high is 182. And what have we been doing since we made that 182 or whatever, 190, 188 or whatever high there in the pre-market? It's been lower lows. On top of that, which is breach of rule number 1, because it's got to be above the pre-market high during regular trading hours for me to trade it. I won't make any exceptions. In addition to that, it breaches rule number 2, which is it has to be trading above the volume weighted average price. This one fails on both. So unless this one wants to break above that $1.90, and by extension of that, obviously retake VWAP from the south to north side, I don't get involved in Kappa. That's just my look there. But CYCC is headed back to the upside. This one held VWAP, so it was 2 big down halts over here. We had a prolonged down halt here for a period of 10 minutes. This down halt ended up being 5, and since that time, we've up halted once, and we're looking at clearing that $14 area. Why is that $14 area important? Well, it's basically the high of this down candle over here, and there's obviously a chasm between $14 and $16, which was the prior halt level that took 10 minutes instead of 5. So I'm on the lookout here for CYCC, but as you can see, this thing's jumping from 20 to 30 to single digits. So it's obviously spready, obviously volatile. Be careful and use sound risk management. So that's CYCC. ANPA also halted down. This one's losing it in a freaking hurry over here. 716 high, it is now halted down at 486, and it has now lost the volume weighted average price, which is a little bit higher than that $5 area. So ANPA in my crap bucket at the moment. Now, what's the deal? Is that it? Is that all you have, Sharif? There's no other small cap gappers? Well, ZEPP over here has my interest, but like a lot of these other small cap gappers, look at this. This downtrend here is very, very obvious, and we're not able to break this lower high kind of pattern that we've been putting on 3 of these. ZEPP, CRML, USAR all have these downtrends here that are kind of unabated and not being broken. So that's what I'm going to keep my eye on. It might be time, though, for CYCC, because it looks like it's starting to get going here. Where's my other trading screen at? Show yourself, trading screen. I just did something here, and I don't know what I did, Joey, so I have to send it to you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What the hell did I just do?
Oh, so you got to...
I think I closed one of my things, so I'm going to have to restart.
Do your thing there. All right.
Oh, I got it.
Amazon. Let's talk a little bit about Amazon, because I know some people were referring to that. So top VILP. Let's take a look at this. And you're saying, hey, there's some call activity. Yeah, right at 2:30. Way to point that out there. And you can see what was our high of the day, right around 227.24. But what we are sitting on right now is right at that 2:30 strike price. By the end of the week, we got 60,800 contracts there. And if we go up to the 235 calls, we got 55,200 there as well too. So yeah, really good call out on that top VIP. And you can see you can see that we're starting to cool off. Yeah, let's take a look at Apple Street. If you want to take that one there, brother.
I'll look at it.
All right,
But something's going on with Apple. I don't know what the hell is happening, but it's like on a bit of a buy side move right now, breaking off the lows into the highs. 211.47, guys. This just could be regular price action, Joey. I don't know. Yeah. There was a lot of buying over here, so I was like, something's going on. I'm looking at the blotter. I'm not seeing anything on the blotter, guys. So yeah, we know that there's that MP deal, but it's a little bit late here to kind of be responding to that. Just wanted to point that out, Joey. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries, not at all there, brother. So yeah, okay, I appreciate that, Glazin, very much so. Those kind words go a lot farther than people can imagine. But yeah, this is what we got going on, guys. I mean, we took 2 trades on AMD, and we're just looking for the continuation of the trend. Could this entry have been slightly better? Yes, but I was waiting for that secondary test, and then once we had this engulfing candle, I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's see if we can break through the volume weighted average price. But then we bounced, and I was literally a couple pennies away from getting stopped out, and thankfully I wasn't. And then sure enough, we get that additional leg lower. I didn't take anything off right there, which I should have, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's see if we can retest those lows. If NVDA wants to sell, then I think we're going to be sitting in a pretty good position. And right after we get back from Madeira, we're going to take a look at the options chain with NVDA.
Trump just made a Truth Social post about crypto, so keep an eye on IBIT getting a little bit of a topping tail candle right now to that 66.20 level. I'm going to read out the post as we typically do. Happy Crypto Week, all caps, exclamation point. The House will soon vote, all caps, on a tremendous bill to make America the undisputed #1 leader, all caps, in digital assets. Nobody does it better. The Genius Act is going to put our great nation light years ahead of China, Europe, and all the others who are trying endlessly to catch up, but they just can't do it. Digital assets are the future, and we are leading by a lot. Then he encourages people to vote, I guess people here in the Senate, to vote on these acts. This is our moment. Digital assets, genius, clarity. It is part of making America great again, bigger and better than ever before. We are leading the world, and we will work hard with the Senate and the House to get even more legislation passed. So basically, Donald Trump here encouraging people to vote in favor of these crypto bills. Let's see how this impacts these crypto-related stocks, guys. Back to you.
It's almost, it's not guaranteed. Like, I have to get the hotkeys. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, cool, guys. So this is what I was just referring to. Adara, thank you for that very much. So here we are. This is what I was looking at, and I referenced this yesterday as well. If this closes as a hammer, there's going to probably be somewhat of a pullback because this was a nice move off of those 107 lows, and then we get a high of around 123.5, and then we close on that inverted. So that was a signal for me, like, hey, watch out. This pullback may be deeper than what you're expecting. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for 113s and 112s to see if we can reload this trade because I had much bigger ambitions for the position that I had on, and unfortunately, it didn't come into fruition. But what I did, and I'll give myself a little bit of credit for, is that I just listened to what the price was telling me. I closed 66% of the contracts, and I'm just holding on to the rest to see, hey, if I was wrong, okay, I still have some skin in the game, or it comes back to my break even, and I just end up flat on that. So it's like, okay, yeah, you gave up about 400 or 500 on realized, so what? Wait, come back, you'll find another opportunity, and then you'll be able to put on another monster trade because what's going on with the crypto week in the States, this could be really, really big. And maybe it's just the big boys being like, hey, we want to grab some more of this, but not necessarily at this price. So we'll wait for that pullback, and then we'll look to get involved once again there, Sharif.
All right, CYCC, we did a little well on it and then gave back a little bit over here. So this one, we got the breakout initially, took from around 13 and 2/3. It's going to hold down here, so I'm happy that I did allow my stop to trigger. Got in 1375, added on the move up into 1433, scalped up into 15, and then held. And then this one met a brick wall at 15, and now it is halted down at 1260. I did get out at 1311 exactly. I had my stop there, so we'll give back a little bit on it. That's yeah, it's a tougher trade over here. I tried to get the initial fill at 1350. It came in, it actually crossed 50, but didn't allow me in because the spread was a little wide at that moment. So I had to wait for the second dip, and then obviously the second one not as good as the first one. So we're gonna keep an eye out on this one. CYCC is the one I'm talking about. We are halted down here, Adara, at 1260.
Here's Citigroup, sharply to the upside. I looked into this. Okay, I think I just found what the news was. We didn't have it. It just came up here. Apparently, the company's chief financial officer saying they're planning on repurchasing at least $4 billion in shares this quarter. Also saying that their mergers, and then their CEO, saying that mergers and acquisitions pipeline is very good and promising. It's a bit confusing. I was seeing that this conference call was set to begin at 11 a.m., so just over half an hour ago, but then I was also seeing comments coming from the conference call 9:21. So dissemination of news on this one is very odd. Be very careful of that. But either way, these headlines are coming out here on social media. Citi's chief financial officer saying the company is planning on repurchasing at least $4 billion in shares this quarter, and the company's CEO saying that mergers and acquisitions pipeline looking pretty good. So keep an eye on C. If I have anything else in this name or any other names, I will let you guys know. Back to you.
Oaks, is that a lot of people forget that the banks are benefiting from the AI play, even if they're not using AI. Like, I'm not even talking about them using it or making money off products from AI, but just the companies going to market that are AI based. Goldman, Morgan, JP, all these are going to underwrite all these IPOs. Do you have any idea how many IPOs we had year to date last year? All of last year was like 20 something. We've got almost 100, and we're barely, halfway through the year. So all these, this AI tailwind is going to benefit these banks more than just from a product that they can offer customers or efficiencies that they can make within their own company.
But that's what I was going to capital the capital efficiencies that you can
add to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Add to that.
Exactly
so I feel like,
so
yeah,
the banks are going to be continuously monstrous. I think JPM obviously the best bank on the planet. So shout out to the American. But my guy Mike P. Dart Ryder catching trades and catching waves. My guy, love seeing that. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We're still cooking up here. He's a savage. I love the Ryder.
I love him, bro.
I love the Ryder, man. So here we are, guys. AMD. Looking for that low of around 154.80, and then we'll take a little bit off. I don't have too many outs left, so we'll take one off there, and then we'll look for 54. We'll go for that home run move on AMD there, Sharif.
All right, guys, just keeping my eye here on ZEPP. Just broke out above trend, so I'm long here, 82s, looking to scalp up into that 13 level. This one, look, I got to tell you, I don't have a rule in official sense that says there has to be a certain amount of volume, or I don't trade these low volume names, but I have it as an informal rule. And so I want to say that this is kind of breaching it, okay? We only have about 1.14 million shares traded on the day, and it's a little bit light over here. It's up 35%. It's got a hell of a chart pattern. We're going to see if I can work my way into this. I'm interested in dollar cost averaging into that 12.5. So I'm in at 80s, 82 exactly. I'm interested in adding and defending into about that $0.50. I might front run that $0.50 if it's warranted. We'll have to wait and see. There's been a seller here in the mid to high 80s for a bit of time, so I'm going to keep my eye onto that one. By grace, the dead one is coming to life. No, I don't know about that, man. I think it's just catching a little bit of a bid here as people are repositioning into it. I would be pleased as punch, okay, if the dead one came back to life. The dead one has been hurting my personal account now 7 months in a row, okay? We made all-time highs on Apple in mid-December, hitting that 260 ever so briefly, and every week and every month since that time, we have been making lower lows and lower highs. Needless to say, I would be very pleased if it made a move back up, but I'm not in control of that.
On a positive note,
yes, sir.
Catching divvies.
Well, yeah, but it's that divvy on Apple is bucket.
Yeah.
You go
obviously,
into like a Philip Morris for the divvy. You go into like a bigger, a cash pay. You know what I mean?
We'll take it.
I'll take it. I'm not gonna say no. Don't get me wrong, right? Like I'm not an idiot, but yeah, certainly, Joseph. I'd love for Apple to do something other than make lower lows and lower highs. All right, we're doing it freaking live. We're getting a 95 print right now on ZEPP. We still, because of the spread, haven't printed that one below 13. It's a 13.01 high a day, but I like the look of this chart. Again, my only concern here on ZEPP is the spread and how it's trading at the moment. It's tightened up to about 5 pennies, 4 pennies, depending on whether you're looking the level 1 or level 2. Don't ask me why they don't have the same information. I do not have that answer. But there we go. We get the second print there. So we're long 82s. We're showing 96. I'd love a decisive break of 13, but knowing full well that 13 is an unlucky number and the whole dollar level, so we could encounter some selling. Shout out to Pablo who's Jesus, $2 super chat. What's going on with AT&T? I will have the answer for you when we get back.
AT&T, I can look into that. We also have NVIDIA here on watch. David Sachs, who is, of course, the Trump administration's AI and crypto czar, doing his second interview of the day. He previously spoke on CNBC. Now he's speaking here on Bloomberg. Well, I'll have to let you guys know if there's any notable comments coming out of here, but it's worth noting he's already talked again about NVIDIA, saying that he does see some merits to CEO Jensen Huang's case for easing curbs. I'll let you guys know if there's anything else here. Back to you.
Thank you, Adira. Boom! Joseph freaking Wilson. All right, let's take more over here. Big move up for ZEPP through 13, like it don't even matter. 13.22 high a day. This one's going. Be careful with this one. What I really liked about ZEPP was this, Joseph. How many times did we say these bangers are making lower highs? You have it over here on criminal. You have it here on USAR. You also had it on ZEPP. Alas, the trend line was decisively broken by my friend ZEPP over here, and that's why this one I felt quite confident getting in, and that's why I said to you guys, all dollar cost average into that 12.5. Well, what the hell is that 12.5 other than being the $0.5 psychological support level? It's the trend, so the trend line. So if the trend line was being used as resistance, the technical analysis books say if it's retested, it should act as support once it's cleared. Same thing with the horizontal areas of support and resistance. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on, Joey. I'm not going to let any part of this trade go against me. My stop goes to 12.79. We'll risk 3 pennies on the remaining amount.
Love that look there, my brother. All right, yeah, so I mean, we can't really complain. I thought NVDA would have continued on today's session. I'm not saying that it's completely over yet. You can see we almost bounced off of this open right here, the 4 o'clock. Ooh. Ooh, it's over.
Trend is in the way, bro.
The trend. I gotta order that thing there, so we gotta get that. And I was gonna wear the shirt the other day, but that's right.
Oh, that's right. Is that for? Was that for Obi's grab?
I got the shirt there.
True.
So I was gonna wear that. Maybe when we hit 125, our primary target there, we'll
like that. Wow, just dunked on me. This guy just crapped on me, eh? Did you hear what he said, Ob? He's like, maybe when we hit 125,000 on Bitcoin, I'll wear it again. You know what that number is, right? Remember the bet between him and I?
Yeah.
You see that, Ob? You see that? He's just dunking on me like that. All right. Okay.
Hey, swish.
The thing is, the Chilean nightmare just said in my ear, I'm waiting for 1 million. I want to remove the word or the phrase, I should say, all-time highs on Bitcoin.
Because it's going to continuously hit it. But we got to keep using it because, man, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high.
I don't think there's not going to be a thing. It's going to be kind of like every year, like fiat currency loses a little bit of value, but in this case, it gains value.
Gains value. Okay, I like that there. I wonder what that was that just fell. But yeah, there you go. No, but in all reality,
I'm putting it on.
I mean, we're up over 4% on the day, and you can see that it's been somewhat choppy. So we're just trading within this range. But I think that H20 chip news is going to add some more fuel to this fire, especially because they've expanded to the Gulfs now. So now I can hear Shreve's thing vibrating. So there's a lot of positive outlook for NVDA for the future, and I'm going to be looking to get back in. I mean, I've sold the bulk of my swing that I've opened back in May, June, in late May or early May or whatever it may be. So I'm going to be looking to get back in, but I just had to sell some profits running on that $10 gap, and I wasn't expecting that whatsoever. So anything south of 172, then we're essentially sitting in a good position because we sold right at that level. So that's what we got going on. Apple is still cooking up a storm. Gorev, nice move on Tesla. That's starting to slowly cook up for you as well too. I like seeing that you grabbed it off of those lows. Hopefully you do get the volume weighted average price, but you can see that the market is somewhat stuck in limbo here because it's not doing too much, and I think it's being held up by the likes of NVDA.
All right, ZEPP, we go and sizzler. We go and sizzler. All right, man, here we go. We get top wick for now. I got 33s. I don't know how this is possible. I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I put my order at 1333 on ZEPP, okay? My high on my other platform over here says 1332. I don't have the highs and the lows over here. Actually, no. So this one says 33 is the high. So this one and my platform, my work platform, my home platform, conflicting here. So got 32s on here, but as you can see on the time and sales right there, it says 1333. So we did get 33 prints for ZEPP. This one is moving up quite nicely. Be on the lookout for this one to continue. It's up 37%. And still going. Great trend. It breached the 10 exponential on the 5 momentarily. It held the 20. So this one, to me, the deeper retracements are going to be kind of in between the 10 and the 20. But for the most part, it did hold up on the 10 on the day, at least so far. So back to the other trade that we've got on, CRML. We still have shares on this one, so I'm just going to wet the beak here at 63s because I'm concerned about this one putting in lower highs, okay? So we've got this area crest over here, this area crest, and then we kind of made a little bit of a higher high, but only on a wick basis, not on a closing print basis. So I am kind of concerned that someone's selling here at the 2/3 of a dollar, 3.66, 3 low 70s, in and around that area. I'm going to be looking for a break and take of that $3/4 dollar. I think though, if it does come back into my 55s, that will be 3 lower highs, and that would make it a candidate for a flat bottom break. And I don't want to be part of that life, especially since I'm long. So my stop now moves up to break even. Joey, here we go again. We've got movement here, not on ANPA, but on CYCC. I'm negatory on this one, but I'll definitely be interested in taking again. And now we have higher lows. So area trough over here into about 10.5, 11. And then we have an area trough over here into 12. All the while, we've been using generally, I want to say 14 to 15 as that flat top. So this one is a good candidate possibly for a flat top break through 15. Trade it carefully. It's spready and volatile, and it's up plenty on the day. I know. Adair says, get it, CYCC. So I'm looking for this one above 15. Now, whether I'm able to catch it maybe a little bit before, and I don't know where the halt levels are either. I would love a tool that would show up on the chart that would just like point to the halt level, and then it would automatically change as the price action changed as well. So that would be really cool for small cap trading, I think, especially these super volatile names. So anyway, Joey, make a long story short, baby, I'm looking for continuation here on CYCC, ideally above 15.
All right, good luck there, brother, as always. All right, let's pull it up here, guys, and take a look at the top. Wow, okay. The top performing sectors, technology in the first one, up 1.2% here on the day, closer to 1.3. Everything else is in the red this morning, guys. Industrial sitting in that show place. Sorry, they're sitting in win place show. No, they're in the place, actually, if that makes any sense, which it probably doesn't. But industrial's only down about a fifth there, and then we have the communications down about a third as well. Then the bottom three, guys, utility down about 1.15, materials down about 1.3, and then we have the healthcare sector down about 1.4%. And then let's take a look at the past month performance and what has been the best performing major moving, average here. So what we want to look at is IWM up 5%. The Q's 4.7, and then the DIA 3.7%. SPY sitting in that last place by just a hair, though. So there it is. There are some of the major indices right there, guys. IWM being an absolute beast, leading the way over the past month, up 5%.
Joey.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy because
don't you like that though? The rotation at least so it shows some market balance.
You see more breadth. You like seeing more breadth.
Exactly.
Yeah, you like seeing more breadth in the market. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we know how how the small caps react to interest rates. Very, very sensitive. So if they get a cut, you get a cut, that can be another positive tailwind.
Exactly.
For the IWM.
Well, you got Microsoft, you got Apple, you got Google. They got their own money, baby. They got plenty of cash on
They don't have to go into the debt market.
They don't have to go into the debt market. When you got to go into the debt market, that eats your margins, and that's why we always talk about small caps being super rate sensitive. Obviously, the entire market is rate sensitive. Don't get me wrong, but small caps a lot more than large and medium caps as well. So, gonna keep an eye on that. I've been talking to City Boy in the chat. He's making me laugh. It's all good, brother. I know what you mean. Shout out to Anuview. Anuview's of the opinion that 15 might be a hard road to hoe, and I definitely agree with that, my man. What's keeping me kind of optimistic, Anuview, about CYCC is kind of what I said before. We got higher lows over here. We definitely have some selling, I want to say in and around 14 to 15. You get the 14 top on this halt candle here. You got 15 over here where I took some scalps, but you can see that the closing prints were around 14 and a half, and then we just got a top wick here into 14 and a quarter on CYCC. So I don't need to be jumping into this one super quick, but I am very much ready to jump in if I see what I like. Okay, so that's what I'm going to keep my eye on right now. CYCC. I also don't want to let ZEPP off the hook because this one, well, we got that 13 and a third move, but it's coming back into 13, and it has a candle of indecision that just closed at 11:45. Yeah, 11:45. So that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. With this doji candle that just closed at 11:45, it has a low of 12.87, but it holds up above the 10 EMA. It does lose 13, but it ended up closing above 13. This current candle kind of ensconced by the highs and the lows of the prior candle, so it doesn't really have a direction yet. What I'm thinking maybe is I can put a resting order for a long above 1320, which is the high of the previous candle. 1319 is technically the high. So I'm thinking I don't want to let ZEPP off the hook over here. I feel that it might have more to offer, but I also don't want to give back anything, and I want to be strategic about where I enter. So the high of the prior candle, 19s, the low, 88s. And we're kind of in between right now, showing 02s on the bid and 10 on the ask. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on there. USAR as well. We had a good trade on this one. Now this one, we got stopped out for the remaining amount. It did find support a little bit above VWAP, more around 14 and a fifth, 14 and a quarter, and now we're back up into 14 and 2/3. So now we're kind of doing that curling effect. I think I'm going to go long above 75. If this thing breaks above 14.75 decisively, I think I'm a buyer here on USAR, and that might be sooner than I thought. Here we go again, showing 69s now. There's a seller of note at 70s. There's about, I don't know, a few hundred lots, nothing really to speak of. They're mostly going to be hidden orders that we can't breach. At least for the moment. I also want to mention one other quick one over here, SLDP. This one hasn't done a whole lot, guys. It's up 18% on the day, but look at this very respectable support at $3, which also happened to be the volume weighted average price. There's ample liquidity here, so you could have been sizing it substantially, and you could have been playing the range of 10 cents, mind you, small, but predictable. 3 to the low side, 310, 311 to the high side, and now we're getting a breakout with a 319 high. So be on the lookout now for a retest of 310, maybe 311 as a support level. So that might be your entry into SLDP with an obvious out below 3 if it defended 3 here and gives it up on this latest pullback. Obviously, that would not be the right trade. So I'm keeping my eye on these ones. I don't think that they're giving up the ghost quite yet. We'll see what these ones have to offer, Joey.
Good look there, guys. All right, let's pull up this chain to see what we got going on. And this is what I was referring to, right? So in order for us to break through some of these key levels, it required a massive gap up or if you were to look at Blue Ocean. So thank you to Adam for showing me that yesterday. The
Obi
Blue
was
Ocean
saying he was in that too, bro.
Yeah,
he was Adam was telling him about that.
Yeah, the Blue Ocean was extremely hot last night, and you can see it displayed if you take a look at the chart from BL. So 165, that's gone, but the volume was there and the momentum was most definitely there on the H20 news. So there you can see 170, you have 148,000 open contracts, and then I have to scroll all the way up to 207.5 to find that next substantial move, or open interest, I should say, in NVDA. And what is that going to tell me? Hey, I'm going to be looking out for the coming weeks. If this size is starting to lift, and then eventually the largest is at 207, that's telling me that eventually NVDA will reach that target. Is it going to be immediately? No, I don't think so. We're still about 30-something points away, a little bit more than that, closer to 40, but eventually 207 is going to be in the works because that is just on this week's expiration cycle. So once those continuously roll over, and we start to compress and get closer to that strike price, there's going to be a massive move in there. So I'm going to most definitely be looking to get involved in one of the hottest tickers in the market right now. Off of those lows, we're probably up after that gap up probably 90% or so off of those Liberation Day lows, but let's get an exact measurement of what that is because this is some monster moves, and I do suspect a high level pullback. And with that gap up, keep an eye out for these indecision at those highs as well, because that could be a good opportunity for some puts. So 96% if we go to that peak. So almost 100% return off of Liberation Day lows. Best believe that I think the market is going to have a decent pullback eventually, but maybe not right now, right? Because we do have some big time laggards, in the likes of Google. I've been talking about Google and Apple for some time. I think Google has the potential to have some more tailwinds than Apple, but here it is, breaking through that resistance, and I believe that 190 is going to be in the works, roughly around there, 187, 189, 190, and that's going to be a big-time move in Google, and that's going to help lift the market even higher than where it's currently sitting at. And the same thing with Apple. As soon as this thing starts to figure it out, and then they come out with that AI release that they really, really need to do, they need to hit the nail on the head with this one. Otherwise, you might see some more kind of indecision price action, and that's not something that we want. We obviously know that the tariffs in China have done a number on AAPL, but there will be some tailwinds in this, and I think Tim Cook and company will get this right, even though they're extremely late to the party.
Yes, sir. Absolutely agree. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I've got a little bit of hesitation. I'm mostly, obviously, I'm of the same opinion as you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in the company. But, you know, I do have some apprehension, Joey.
For me, it's the cash. It's the cash, right?
Cash money?
Yeah. Cash can solve a lot of problems. And I think it's most definitely going to have to, they're going to have to use it to bail them out of the hole that they dug themselves.
Well said. Yeah. Well said. Yeah. And it's nice to be able to have cash like that. Yeah. All right, guys, we're long back into ZEPP. Shout out to ADL, by the way. When ADL was here, I want to read this out. Sharif, Joseph, if you remember when I came on the show, I said buy NVIDIA around 108. Now look, Adam, I've never really questioned much of what you say, brother. I know you do your deep research, and I know you're running money, so obviously you're going to have your nose in the game there. Goes without saying. Shout out to ADL, all class Adam Deleuze. All right, so that's what I'm keeping my eye on. ZEPP, we're back long here, 04s, Joey. We just got a print there at 20s. Now I'm waiting at 25s and then high 30s. Let's see if the juice is still left here in ZEPP. I'm looking for this one to kind of move back up. As I mentioned, I'm back into USAR. Where's my USAR chart? There we go. Now we're taking prints on my friend USAR as this one moves back up into the 80s. We still are unprinted here at 85. So let's go ahead and set up a little bit higher as well in the high 80s. There, we'll take the print there. And then we're going to set up a little bit lower than 15. Let's see what USAR has to offer. But oh, baby, ZEPP is headed back up into the high of day. 1337s. It's showing me 35s right now on the level 2. I'm waiting at 35, so it should be printing as soon as we hopefully get a move above that the spread there. So I'll pack my patience on that one, and then we'll also set up a beak wetter just a little bit below the $0.50. And Criminal is headed back to the upside as well, so we're taking prints on this one. It's now time to set up at 74s, and then we're going to set up a little bit above the high of the day for a high day break into 82 on CRML. It is putting in higher lows and higher highs, but it's not the end of the matter yet. Again, back to ZEPP as this one is taking out highs again. It's a 48 high now, Joey. On ZEPP now up 41%. I'm waiting here at 48s. Is this the right out, though? Is this a right out? Should I be taking it out in front of the $0.50? I will say yes, because of the psychological area of resistance. I don't mind getting back in, though. I have no qualms about getting back in. So I'm going to say I'm going to leave my order there. And there it is, Joseph.
Oh.
It just went. Oh, come on. No.
Yeah,
that can't be real, Neil. Did you see that? It just went up to 14.15. 1407. That's incorrect. 1407. But all of them are in a rampage up. Joey Criminal just filled all my orders to the high side. Now we're keeping an eye on this one. Shout out to my other one over here, USAR. This one also clearing 85s finally. So let's keep an eye on the small caps, man. They are going. They are not giving up the ghost. Good move right now on these small cap gappers. I'm seeing SBET as well start to make moves, guys. Shout out to I want to shout out whoever mentioned this here. Give me a second. Yannick, shout out to Yannick, letting me know that SBET is back on the high side to the tune of 15 2/3, guys. So SBET on the move up. Shout out to Nimrod. Nimrod out in Israel. Shout out to my man. Hey, Habibi, I had some great day trades. I should have win but lost due to the spread madness. Been there, brother. Can you elaborate a bit on what affects spread beyond volume? I always follow the minimum 1 million volume. That's a great question. I've often had trouble answering this myself. When something has the requisite amount of volume, why does the spread tend to open up at times? But I always end up coming back to the same issue. It is volume. It's just really how it's being participated in on the day. Kind of hard to articulate. Give me a minute. We're going to do something over here, and then I'll get back to your question.
All right, guys, looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, SPY, or even Bitcoin? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there. They give traders the chance to manage up $1 million in capital, pick your path, instant funded, challenge, or pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid over $10 million and earned 1,000 plus 5-star reviews from real traders. Use the discount code TTV to save on any account, scan the QR code, or head to the top1futures.com. Start trading towards your next payout. Yes, that is a lunchtime bill. And yes, I'm looking forward to Friday's lunch. And yes, we are going to Adara.
Okay, can we just...
sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. No worries, no worries, no worries.
Sorry about that. We'll take a look here at this market. It's been a pretty interesting day. For the record, I still haven't seen any details on this Indonesian trade deal, but I bring that up because Donald Trump did tease it earlier today, and that's not the only Donald Trump-related catalyst we need to keep an eye on today because he will be attending this energy event here, the inaugural Pennsylvania energy event coming through at 2:30 p.m. We did have crypto and AI czar David Sachs speaking about this event on a couple different news platforms today, including CNBC and also Bloomberg. As far as I heard on both of those, apparently he's already in Pennsylvania, so you're going to expect him there as well. Keep an eye here in NVDA. This one chopping around a little bit. We know that Jensen Huang, CEO of the company, is apparently going to be filing for this application to sell their AI chips to China. Again, AMD announcing something pretty similar here. And David Sachs, AI czar, said that he's not really sure that they should be selling their top chips, but they still do need to be able to compete in China. Here we have CoreWeave, CRWV, this one chopping around here ahead of that Pennsylvania AI event. Both CoreWeave and Google announced that they are investing various amounts here at CoreWeave, I believe $6 billion in AI-related infrastructure in Pennsylvania. So keep an eye on these catalysts. We're going to send you over to Neil. And as always, exciting lesson of the day, but make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to enjoy Neil's lesson. Without further ado, take it away, Neil.
Lesson of the day today is brought to you by my dad. I have my family, well, my parents live like literally 10 minutes away from me, but I have my nephew visiting. And while he's visiting, my parents were over, we had a good dinner and was chatting with my dad. And there's something that he always said that brought me to this lesson. If somebody wants to tell you and show you the type of person they are, listen to them. And it's something that always sort of stuck with me. You can want to believe certain things, but when someone's literally telling you and showing you the type of person they are in a general sense, you should listen to it and then go from there. If a stock is showing you what it wants to do and what it wants to be, you should also make sure you listen. And this is 100% in regards to what happened to MP, or what happened to me in MP today, where yesterday in MP, it was a early break and scalp, right? It was in a gap up and consolidation. And so then yesterday, it could not break past 50. It was an early break and a scalp trade. And sometimes we get a little wrapped into, well, I missed that trade on MP yesterday, so when it breaks out, I'm just going to do the early scalp part of the trade. So I trail out of it when it comes back down. Now, what's obviously true is when a stock shows you what it wants to be, like on the day that it's making the first move up, not the consolidation after, but the first day after the move, not just one big move, but then a big continuation move after the open. It's a squeeze stock. And a squeeze stock, when it gets into a new price range, you're supposed to let it go. When it's condensed, yeah, because it's not breaking out and shorts aren't getting scared until it breaks above. But when it's breaking out, it's in that new range. It's a squeeze stock. That's what you know about it. That's the reason it was parabolic a couple of days ago with the DOD story. So you gotta maybe let it ride a little bit more and give it more breadth, because it's not this in the consolidation. When it's out of the consolidation, you gotta let it fly. So a lot of times you can get anchored to what happened the day before. I know that I did. And the overwhelming other story is, I'm gonna go to a daily chart first so that this has a little more effect. And I pick on these guys a lot. Oh, I know it's New York. I know I say a lot and pick on Mullen a bunch. But this chart it's with good reason when the chart looks like this. I don't need to explain to you what sense of direction you should favor on a stock that does this. To each their own. If you have an answer that's different from me, I don't know what to tell you. But what I can say is if you know this is a stock that absolutely loves to pump and dump, and you know that on Friday, and we talked about this on Friday, it double topped and then it just absolutely flushed. When a stock does this, and you know it does this, and there's some random nonsense catalyst, which is what it usually has, and goes right into prior support, you don't have to have it the first time, and it double tops again, you gotta join the short. You could miss half the move and just short it at VWAP here with tight risk and get it for the rest of the day. And what does it do today? Right in here. Now, I paid for locates, but I was too busy trading some of the bigger cap tech stocks and just didn't bother to do anything with it. There are some trades like holding on to MP because it's in a new range. The last time it made a new range, it went parabolic. Let it go parabolic. Or last time Mullen did this exact same try to gap up and double top, it did the same fall down and VWAP and for the rest of the day. If a stock is showing you a pattern and it's something that you've traded before, then you just got to go hit it. Don't try to pretend it's something else, or don't pigeonhole it, or don't try to force a different setup on it like I did in MP. Just let it be what it was the time before, or that you've seen a million times, and then just go and do the simple thing. Now, I myself should have been short Mullen, and it should have been my #1 stock today, because when it does this, it's just free money. Now, imagine you could short $12.80 and get 10.5 out before it even bounces. And you could risk 40 pennies to make 2.5. Now, if I said that on Apple, everyone would lose their minds. Which one is an easier setup, everybody? Not everyone can trade penny stocks. Which one's easier? Show me a big cap stock that would be as easy as simply hitting this flat bottom break on Mullen and catching a 4-to-1 trade. I'm waiting, because I don't think you'll find it. Yesterday, a penny stock gave the same breakout to the upside, where the risk to reward is just better. Sometimes it's that simple. Let a stock be what it is, and when it shows you in spades the type of stock it is, take advantage of it. That's what you got to do. That is your lesson of the day. Listen to what the stock is telling you. If it says it's a pump and dump, then you take the turn when it gives you the confirmation. If it says it's parabolic, then you let it fly like MP. Simple lesson of the day there. Hopefully that resonates. I know with MP and Mullen, 2 missed trades today, it resonates with myself. That's why I'm giving it to you. Back to the Bash Brothers, everybody.
Quickly to me first, though. Sorry about that. Thank you, Neil, for that awesome lesson of the day. Citigroup on watch. They actually did announce here. Apparently, they are exploring issuing a stablecoin. So keep an eye on Citigroup with a stablecoin-related catalyst. Then we've got Roblox. Variety reporting apparently that the company is announcing a new licensing platform for Experience, and they're aiming to open License Manager to all eligible IP holders in the coming months. So keep an eye here on RBLX and C's. We send you over to the Bash Brothers.
Can I say something to you? I just saw, like, you know those workshops that teach kids, like, skills, like math? So they're teaching Roblox now in some of these. Like, it had a sign outside. It was, like, skills development for kids, math, science, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things was Roblox. So I was like, interesting.
Well, I think video gaming is, obviously, to a certain extent, is good for kids.
Right?
Honestly, because as a kid, that's what I played video games with. And it definitely helps translate into something like this. Because there's a gamification about trading, right? So just punching keys and everything along those lines, understanding what the chart is. You can make it a game, and that's essentially what we try to do there.
Agree.
My friend, Google's starting to tank. Apple right back into the volume-weighted average price. I heard you talking about SBET, so I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'm going to take a look at it anyway, Sharif, there.
You can tell he's been through that, right? Shout out to the Chilean nightmare, man.
He always comes with anything.
He said it in my ear. He's like, just don't rage quit. Right, for Roblox, I'm assuming, some feelings there.
I've never played the game. I have no idea what it is or what it does, to be honest with you. Do you?
I've never even logged into it. I just live vicariously through the Katina man, who spends a lot of money on it for his kids.
Login. I wouldn't even get that far. I've never even done it before. So I don't remember the last time actually, no, I downloaded Call of Duty on my PC like a while ago. I tried it a couple of times, just got absolutely murked, and then I'm like, yeah, that's enough of that. Back to trading.
Well, Fabian downloaded it in the early 2010s. He tried it a little bit, but
Roblox?
Roblox, yeah.
All right, shout out Fabian.
When he was young.
But yeah, no, way to call this one out there. Okay, all right. So about 5 years ago. All right, so there it is, guys. A nice breakout there on SBET, Sharif. Way to call that one out. And the volume's really starting to pick up in this name. So that is a good signal. Wait for a retest, and then maybe you can get a continuation of the trend. I'm looking for a potential add opportunity in AMD, but not only if it doesn't stop me out, right? You can see we have this definitive trend line. We're constructing these lower highs. So as long as this holds up, then I think there might be a good add opportunity for the break of this level, and then maybe you can head into the opening price. Will put us around right around 153 and change, Sharif.
Joseph, ZEPP, I'm just going to call it ZEPP because I can't keep focusing on saying Z instead of Z. It's driving me crazy. ZEPP is on that good stuff right now. It's up only 55%. It's not a triple-digit winner, but look at this move, guys. We're moving dollars at a time now. It is a $14.99 high, so essentially $15. We haven't touched the 10 EMA since 11:55. So going on now almost 15 minutes or so, the last time we even came close to it. The 10 EMA is currently showing me 13.75. The level 2 is showing me 14 2/3. So we're extended here away from that 10 EMA, but I'm super interested getting back into ZEP or into ZEPP over here if I can set up in the right way. So this one is on that good stuff, guys. It's a continuation play. Be on the lookout for that. Also, Joey did mention this out. Sorry, I dare to keep you waiting, but I want to mention SBET because this is on that good stuff as well. So SBET, we know about this. It's a former convict. Everybody, even non-small cap traders know about this. And Neil, we have not had a red candle since 11:30 on SBET on the 5-minute chart. We're forming one right now, but we have 4 minutes for this candle to close. So this is on that good stuff right now into the high of the day, 28.33 high there at Dara.
We have some very interesting, I'll put it that way, comments coming from Howard Lutnick, who is, of course, U.S. Commerce Secretary on CNBC. Previously, we had comments coming from David Sachs, who is the AI and crypto czar for the White House, on basically the same topic, but some of Howard Lutnick's comments here on these China chip sales are very interesting. He's saying that the U.S. is selling China their 4th best chip to stay ahead of China so that they'll purchase U.S. chips. He says that the goal is to get Chinese developers, quote, addicted to the U.S. stack. So yeah, really being very open here about, I guess, this strategy here with regards to selling these U.S. chips to China. Previously, earlier today, we did have David Sachs, who is as I mentioned earlier, the White House AI and crypto czar. He said that they don't want to sell their best chips to China, but they certainly do have incentive to sell some chips to China so that they compete with the market share in the region. So lots of commentary coming through here. Just be aware that that we do have Howard Lutnick, U.S. Commerce Secretary, speaking on CNBC. Back to you.
Shout out to Lunatic over here. Yeah, he looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice salt, pepper.
But yeah. No, seriously though, guys, let's just talk about this like for real. Jensen shows up to the White House on Friday, and then we got a deal. on Tuesday, and we already knew. I reported to you guys that after he left the White House on Friday, he was weaseling on over to China. There had to have been something. It was only logical that he was speaking to Donald Trump about some sort of export restriction before he went on to China. I mean, what could they have talked about that? Everything good?
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Fly?
No, it was annoying me, whatever that thing was there.
So yeah, let's Adara's repeated this many times, as well as she should. They're not selling their best, their Hopper.
Yeah.
They're not selling Blackwell.
Yep.
The 200 or the 300. 300 is not in production yet. But they're selling the H20. And Joey, as I reported this morning, they got the RTX as separate China-specific AI GPU. So if Donald Trump flips a switch, and we know Donald can do that in a second, if he changes his mind on something, he's got a backup, not just the H20, right?
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. So as Adara mentioned, they're only selling the 4th best chip, which is generally what you want. You want them to be using NVDA stack. And sorry, what's the platform called that they?
CUDA.
CUDA.
Yep.
CUDA, right? And you want them to use these things. So what it does is kind of leaves them in this bubble where, like, hey, we're used to using NVDA's chips, and we're not going to expand too much. We know Huawei's coming out with their own, but that's not going to be really comparable to the GB. So that's really, really important. That's why we're seeing this positive pop in NVDA. So that's going to add a lot more to NVDA's balance sheet once again. So do you think that so $4 billion off last time. So now are we going to be pricing in an additional $4 billion plus onto some potential earnings leading into?
I'm assuming that's why we had the rally overnight. If you guys know about Blue Ocean, Obi was telling me about how NVIDIA was trading yesterday on Blue Ocean. The market didn't wait, man. Again, like you and I always talk about this, the market will discount things super dang quick. So as soon as you have that information, the market's going to incorporate it into the price really, really quickly. So there you go, man. I mean, I like this. Just from an AI diffusion perspective, Joseph, don't give Huawei a runway or SMIC. Don't give them the runway to build up, because it's not just going to be Chinese purchasers of these GPUs or these advanced AI chips. Once they've proven concept by Chinese companies using them, guess who else is going to buy them? Everybody that doesn't want to fork over $30,000, $40,000 for a Hopper or more for a Blackwell. So you're giving them the opportunity to get into the game. So I do like the way that Jensen is pitching this to Donald, is if we don't get it done, somebody else will. Do you want us to be the leaders in AI, or do you want the Chinese or whoever else fills the vacuum because you're going to restrict the chips? I do find that as a sound argument. Well, like everything in life, I feel it has to be balanced on, yes, your boy over here is a Libra, the Libra scale. And, you know, obviously on one side of the equation, I don't want the Chinese military getting their hands on it, nor do I want Chinese companies to perform better or as good as American companies. But on the other hand, I also have to make sure that, you know, we're leading the way so that my profitability can kind of stay intact. It's a tough kind of balance to strike there.
Well, we know either way they're going to obviously get their hands on some of the better chips via Singapore or whatever it may be, right? But again, if we can still sell them, the Americans can still sell the H20, maybe that's going to just cause a little less demand for those black market chips that they're kind of getting offshore. So yeah, really good look, and I think it's going to continue to price things in. I'm glad that NVDA didn't go on a massive rip this morning. Why? Because this can give us a nice consolidative breath, and then you take that leg higher. Pug Life was mentioning about some call walls at 175, et cetera. Now we're just talking about things from a technical standpoint, but eventually we will get up to those numbers. And I think 200 will most definitely be in the works with NVDA, because now they've expanded their client base going to the Gulf countries, et cetera. Haven't even really tapped into Europe, I don't think, to be honest with you, Sharif. Europe doesn't got too much going on. But now China is back on the table. There's some big things happening for NVDA in the future.
Well said, man. Let me know when, Assassino. Okay, so we're no problem. All right, I'm back into ZEPP over here. So this one hit 15, dropped in 1 5-minute candle from $14.99 down to $13.50. I'm long here at 71. I've already scalped up in the high 80s. I'm looking for a 14 beak wetter. I'm looking for a 10 EMA hold on the 5. That's my move here. I stop out below the $0.50. It's really that simple, okay? So let's see if this one wants to catch a bit of a bid to the high side, kind of retrace a little bit. It was a big move up, and now it's at the 10 EMA.
Papa is breaking out.
why I got in. Thank you for letting me know. Joseph Baba is on the rampage now into 115. Big moves here. This is kind of the NVIDIA play still. I mean, Jensen calling NVIDIA's H20 play a huge call, ignites $15 billion AI bonanza. We're going to keep an eye out on that. Beta Pro? Okay, all right, guys. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leverage ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Shout out to the great folks there at Beta Pro. All right, so that's what I'm keeping my eye on right now, guys. ZEPP, I'm looking for a hold of the $0.5 and a move above 14. Here we go. It's already showing me 95s. I'm waiting for this one to clear. Let's see if we can possibly get back up to 15 separately. Over here, I've been continuing to hold my order on criminal, and the best print that I got, 77 so far. I'm looking for an 80 break, but it did double top at 80. So you did have a rejection originally at 1020 at 380, and you had it again here right at 1210 at 380. So let's see how this cookie crumbles. I'm not going to add into this position until it drops back into the volume weighted average price. It's been respectful. It's been respectful of VWAP twice today. Initially here on 3-candle hold up from 1055 to 1105, and then we had a 2-candle hold up from 1130 to 1135, both of which defended quite well, and both of which made higher highs and higher lows. ANPA is now moving here, says, I don't know how to say your name, brother, but look, ANPA is below the volume weighted average price, or kind of below the volume weighted average price. Not good enough for me. It's got to start making higher highs. Right now, all I see is area high, lower high, and another lower high. We got to break trend for me to get involved. Adara.
Keep an eye here on the market. We are having some commentary here from Howard Lutnick, who is, of course, the U.S. Commerce Secretary. He's speaking a little bit more here about this Indonesian tariff. Donald Trump teased a tariff announcement with Indonesia, but did not provide any details. Howard Lutnick is providing some details. He's saying that apparently the deal with Indonesia involves a 0% tariff on U.S. goods, but Indonesia will be still getting tariffs on their goods. It's a little bit confusing. I'll wait to see if there's more details. But either way, I wanted to let you guys know we did get some kind of update here with regards to that Indonesian tariff, though nothing from Donald Trump himself. Back to you.
Good luck there. Thank you very much. So yeah, this is what I was referring to earlier, guys. We'll talk a lot about this. So just moving sideways, trading around that 171 within a couple dollar range here, you can see. But let's zoom out and see what we got going on. Just keep an eye out for this candle to close like this, because then you might potentially get a gap fill, and I'll take that most definitely, considering that we've been on a 90-something plus percent return from those April 7th lows there. So yeah, it's a really good look in NVDA. Be exact, 96%. So you can't go wrong, especially if we get a pullback. I wouldn't mind something into the 150s, but I don't even know if we're going to get that. There's so much good going for this name. It's almost like you have to get on every micro pullback or slowly start to allocate some of these shares. Because as Sharif just brought up, that's another $18 billion approximately on the balance sheet.
Yeah, it was like, I think, Joey, they took... I have it in my notes.
Yeah.
We were all talking about a $5.8 billion charge or something like that, but that was on the quarter. I think the yearly, full year was bigger.
Okay, yeah, significantly bigger. Yeah. All right, so that's a positive sign. So there it is on NVDA. Enough of that one. We'll be talking about the chip space throughout the session, but let's take a look at Alibaba as it broke through some of these key highs, guys. So a big time move. And I heard you say that they grew on the quarter. China grew like 5-point-something percent.
Yeah, I got that in the notes actually here.
I don't know how much I believe of that, but I mean the stimulus can most definitely
but
add
to be fair,
that. Yeah.
I know everyone questions the numbers out of there, and I respect that. Yeah. But they also report bad numbers. Don't forget,
they do,
right?
Yeah,
so we do get bad numbers
fair.
from them.
And they're stimulating the economy as well too.
They are, and they're quite open about that.
So that's fine. So that can obviously justify the growth, the gross domestic product growth. So that is a positive look, and some of these ADRs are really starting to come into play. But if you ask me, I'm gonna stick with this until otherwise. But for me, I will not be investing in any of these Chinese ADRs. And that's just me personally, right? I don't want to sit through any of this. These ebbs and flows are absolutely mentally taxing. And for me, if I can just avoid something in this class or even in China, that's totally fine with me because I already have enough of a headache worrying about what's going on in the American markets. And I don't need other catalysts coming in with China. Next thing you know, something goes horribly wrong and you're back down to $100 or $97 on Alibaba Group.
Well said, Joseph. Well said. Guys, I'm keeping my eye on ANPA because I see it is trying to make a move above that previous area high, ANPA. I really get involved with this one or get my attention if it breaks above that $0.5. So I'm just going to throw it an alert at that, $0.5 exactly. Usually I put it a little bit below just to front run it, but that's kind of what I'm looking at now. Now, ZEPP is going to get stopped out if it loses 50 pennies, okay? So we extracted only one beak wetter on this one. I have a very small position here because of the danger, and we just did get stopped out there. So we will give back here some on ZEPP. Kind of annoying there, but that's okay, and that's how trading is. All right, guys, with Trade the Pool's swing trading program, you can get access up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares, not these CFDs. You can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy limited risk thanks to a one-time evaluation fee, no monthly payments, no hidden cost. Take Vincent J, for example, one of Trade the Pool swing traders. He's already locked in $23,082 in profits. His top performer, a stock called NMAX. He shorted it from April 20th to May 30th and pulled in $6,777 gain. Trade the Pool is giving swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. So scan that QR code and enjoy 10% off. ANPA is now taking out that 50 penny area. Where's my ANPA screen over here? There it is. Now let's watch. Do we reject this area? We know there's going to be resistance likely at that $0.5 given the candle at 11.25. So let's see if we can clear that $0.5 with some distance. Otherwise, I want no smoke with this one. I'm going to pack my patience on that. I also want to mention that we made a new high a day here on criminal into 81s. Alas, I did not get the print there, so just going to wet the beak here super quick as I go back to ANPA because I want to focus on this one. If we clear the $0.5 here decisively, I think there could be a possible continuation trade, maybe back into 6, into 7, something like that. We're going to keep an eye on this one. I don't mind punching in, but I got to see all the right ingredients. And let's not look at, a 10 or 20 penny move above the $0.5. Let's see a decisive move because right now we're currently rejecting it again with this current candle turning red, Joey. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that. Soothing nature. Can XRP pop back to the high a day? I'll keep my eye on XRP. Are you talking about the coin or are you talking about the stock there, Soothing Nature? Let me know. But I just want to keep my eye on ANPA here because it does look like it's taking out the $0.5, but again, not far enough for me to want to get involved. And there you go, dropping below 40s. It feels like that short seller in and around that 5.5 still in play here. We'll pack our patience. We'll keep an eye out on this one, and I'll check our XRP for you while I watch this one.
Oscarito mentioned something this morning, so I think it's coming on ARCA and on the Amex. By this Friday, XRP ETF coming out, UXRP being launched. So that's going to be very interesting. XRP will catch up to BTC as it goes sideways. Save man-woman peace. I don't think so whatsoever. I'm not going to say that you're wrong, but you got to think about supply and demand, right? That there's a reason why Bitcoin is moving how it is, and I'm pretty sure there's an infinite amount of XRP that you can grab or something that isn't substantial. But that's why Bitcoin has its true value, is because there's obviously a finite amount, and there's only so much supply circulating right now. So, and eventually it'll all be gone in the year like 2140 or something like that. So long past my life. So yeah, all right, AMD, or maybe you never know. Maybe I could channel my inner Brian Johnson and get that you get that full life. I don't know. Apparently that guy's not too healthy, Brian Johnson.
Are you talking about like the people that would come on TV?
No, Brian Johnson, the guy who's all about kind of de-aging himself.
Oh, the guy that goes in the egg and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, he's taking like 40 supplements a day.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
They put like a side-by-side of this guy with Liver King.
Yeah,
and
Liver
because
King
they're the
looks
same
rough.
age,
Are they?
apparently. Yeah. Liver King looks
He looks
substantially older.
Yeah.
Because they didn't show Liver King's body. They just showed his face and then that other Brian Johnson.
Yeah, but Brian, oh, okay, yeah. So it's
Did you
Brian
see that
Johnson.
one?
Yeah, no. I never seen the comparison, but yeah, Liver King. Yeah, I don't know about that guy, to be honest with you. He's in phenomenal shape, but he's looking pretty old to me, if you ask.
Well, yeah, and like he's on hormones.
Yeah.
So, you know, well,
but you need, no, he's not Brian Johnson. He's definitely not on hormones or anything.
he doesn't look like he's on hormones. Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, guys, I'm out of this AMD trade. It came back to my
AMD.
break even, so I don't think I'm going to be hopping into anything else. The TQs, you can see, I'm so glad. It was my number 3 on the list today, and I'm glad that I personally haven't traded this, because look at how it's just moving, right? You can see we got a high of around 86 and a low of around 85.30. So it's just been trading within this point range, right? So I don't want any part of this disorderly price action. And I think at this pace, you can see that we're constructing these lower highs. We will break through this lower end and then start to fill some of this gap. So I think that could be a potential trade, maybe not today, but on another session.
Sorry, Adair, I keep signing you out.
Joe, there's a finite amount of XRP and they burn with every transaction. Okay, yeah, XRP has a use case. Okay, that's fair, and I understand that, right? XRP is better for transactions. It's faster. It can hold up. It can conduct significantly more transactions than what Bitcoin is. But I don't think they're anything relatively close. And if it does, then your boy's got some, and then I'll be sitting on some pretty pennies if he even gets anywhere close to that. But I don't think XRP has the ability to mimic what Bitcoin's been doing.
Yeah, I want to chart XRP for the guy in the chat there. I do apologize, forgot your name already. I'm not very good with names. Give me a second over here. Soothing Nature. But Adara keeps logging me. It's Adara's trading view.
And another good point here, sorry, as well. Jack B. Nimble says XRP is totally centralized, right? Ripple, I'm pretty sure it's owned by a bank. So
yeah. So Soothing Nature want to know if we can get back to the high of the day. The high of the day to me seems 29.30. Look, we're putting in lower lows and lower highs. So I'm not saying we can't, but there's your area crest. And now we're kind of rejecting this area over here. There's your area trough. That's the implied balance open. And there's another lower high. So hard to know. It feels like we're selling off a little bit here. Even from yesterday's time frame, it has been a series of lower highs and lower lows with maybe some higher lows over here. Kind of hard to see over here what the range is going to be here on XRP. It's kind of looking consolidated. Whether it reaches back into highs, it's kind of hard for me to gauge there, brother. I do apologize about that. Kind of hard to see. I want to mention another one over here for Cosmic Consciousness. He wants me to look at IBG. So IBG, Innovation Beverage Group, it's an almost $12 million market cap. Let's start with the daily, especially when it's a stock I don't know. Start with the daily there. So this is an outsized runner. As you can see, it's had these huge days, but most of the time it gives back those huge days. So it's a former runner, it's a former convict with big outsized days. Today it's about 25%, a little bit lower, 24.25% in Greensville. But today is not the first day it was running. It really started, this is the 4-hour chart. Excuse me, that's not the daily. So yesterday, it ran quite aggressively yesterday. It was south of $1. That's why I didn't have notice of it. It did end up closing at around that $1.26, $1.29. What I do like about this Cosmic Consciousness is that even though it did drop below that dollar momentarily, look where it's back up. And it's got higher lows and higher highs, even though the body of the candle, almost nothing to speak of there. At least it's not giving up the entire move, and it's got higher highs. Now, what I'd be looking for generally is a hold of that dollar, whether or not we get that continuation back into the high of the day at $1.60. Technically, the official high day is $1.42, but the pre-market saw us go to about $1.60 there. This is not a bad look. It's not a bad look, but I think it's shown its hand prior, where it's had these outsized days, and then it has Christmas tree or upside down V retracements. Today, we are getting higher lows and higher highs. So today might be a little bit different, but kind of hard to tell, my man. Kind of hard to tell. Not a bad look here on IBG. All right. It looks like I got bottom wicked here on the last remaining amount of ZEPP. ZEPP, so I'm getting back into this monster with a $0.50 hold there, Joey, as I'm looking for this one to retake some of the momentum to the upside. What do you got?
All right, there. Good look there. So you can see we're starting to sell a little bit again on AMD, so that downtrend's still holding up. We haven't broken it and sat on top and climbed higher, so that's a positive note. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about coin, because we're going on all about all this crypto talk. So what a monster move. And I think this stablecoin news is just going to continue to make this thing run. So 351, putting in almost a high of around 400 there. So a really good look in Coinbase. And I think at any point, if you can grab a pullback on this name, so you can see we go in this monster room, and then look at this pullback. Relatively shallow, but I mean in all relative talk to what we've got going on, 381 to 336. Boom, that's a $50 pullback, and then sure enough, from that 331, you go up $60. So that's kind of something that I'm going to be keeping an eye out on. I most definitely will be keeping an eye out on Bitcoin for this pullback, because I think that we're going to continue on this trend. Institutional still buying up on this, and it's crypto week, so I'm not surprised by the rumor sell the news type event. But other than that, I don't got too much going on right now. We'll talk a little bit about the options chain and what we got cooking up there. We'll go through a couple names with the likes of Google, considering we're now north of, I believe, that 180 level, which I think was going to be a massive pivotal moment for this name. So 183.20, this is exactly what I want to see in Google. And then we'll pull it up here, 185. 39,300 contracts. That is the largest size that we're seeing on this week's expiration cycle. So, I mean, we might get that magnet effect and run into those levels. Those 180s are now underwater, so watch out for that. Who knows? We could definitely run into that neck of the woods and head south of that. But that's kind of what the thesis I was building on NVDA as well, too. We'll touch on that one more time momentarily. But there it is, 185 potential call wall on this one. And then someone also mentioned Tesla. Let's pull up Tesla's options chain to see what we got going on. See, excuse me. The thing about Tesla, sorry. The thing about Tesla is that you go on these months where it's extremely in play, and then you go for a couple of months where it's just like no one even really wants to look at this stock because Elon decides to start a new political party or do something crazy like buy X and Twitter or fight Donald Trump. So you know, like the list goes on what this guy's been doing. So again, once some positive news comes out, and I don't think it's necessarily going to have to do anything with the vehicles, Tesla. Oh yeah, good job there, Ramin. And
wow,
so it's going to yell. Did I ever see that one? We won't repeat what Ramin just the signal she gave me. But 320, there is some size right there. 46,000 open contracts right there. And then sure enough, if we go up the chain, all we can see is that 340. And I don't even think we're going to be in that works right now, to be honest with you guys. Put wall at 300. I would have more of an aim towards that specific level until we get some positive news that's going to be backing or a solid tailwind for Tesla there, Sri.
All right, guys, criminal is at the high of the day. CRML, I keep calling it criminal. It's at the day's high right now. Good strength on CRML. 383 high. I think 380s was that previous area that we kind of rejected. So we're not that far ahead of that 380 area. So be on the lookout here for possible resistance to step in. I want to talk about SBET because SBET's not giving up the ghost at the moment. Where's my SBET screen? Do I even have one? That's the question. I do not. Okay. So we're going to take off YOUL because that's been having trouble with the VWAP. We're going to throw SBET on there, which trades on the NQ. Decent spread here on SBET, only 3 pennies, 2 pennies a Darren. No, this one doesn't suit. Yeah, that's not good enough. I know it, Darren. I knew you were going to say that. But this one's holding up here quite nicely at the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. It's got 3 candles previously here of indecision, both of which are doji candles. Some were bottoming tails and some are topping tails. So which way does this cookie crumble? Do we have the legs to get back and stay above 28, even though the high of the day goes to 28.33? We're not exactly rocketing up here. So what's prior bar low? Prior bar low is like basically the low of this candle. So prior bar low over here, 27.73. Let's give this one a try. See if we can take out something over here. We're going to put 27.69 as our out. So we'll give this one some room. What do we got on? We got 94s, Joey. Okay, so let's go ahead and layer the orders here. It's going to be a tough 28 break, I think. There's definitely a short seller at around 28. You can kind of just see that based on the price action. So we're not going to risk too much to see if we can on a try and get a decisive $28 break. Whether we get it or not, we'll have to wait and see. But we're going to give this one a try here on SBET. Through the highs. It looks like it is bull flagging, but you know, not everything that you see that looks like a bull flag actually is a bull flag. There we go. We get a 28 pop, so we'll get a quick print there, but the seller at 28 is still there, still viable and keeping this one below. There we go. Now we took it out, and then the sell order came as quick as you like. So as soon as we touched anything above 28, you saw the selling come in very aggressively there. That's why we've got the topping tail candle on the prior candle. That 1230 candle has a low of 27.73 and a high of 28.11. So anything above 28 seems to be met with aggressive selling. Can we shake the seller at 28? We're going to have to find out over here, de-risking a little bit through that level. So we'll pack our patience and see what we can get here on SBET. If we can get a decisive break, I think this could be on the move up. But yeah, a lot of people already know about this. There's a lot of short sellers involved, and they could be pegging the whole dollar here for possible resistance. So let's keep an eye out on that. Have you seen the new Superman? Is the poll. I'm going to say no, I have not seen it. I don't have any aversion to Superman. In fact, he's one of my favorite superheroes. I know who my favorite is, though. I'll start with you.
I know Tony Stark.
Easy work. Easy work. Easy work.
Neil's giving you looks over there.
All right, so I'm Iron Man all day, all night, right? I get that there's a lot of overlap between Batman and Iron Man. They're both good with women. They're both really good with technology.
Yeah.
They're both wealthy.
Yeah.
I like all three aspects of those things. So I see that there's a lot of overlap. I just happen to Iron Man better because I want to fly around.
You want to fly around?
Absolutely, I want to fly around.
Okay, for me, I have not seen the new Superman, but if I wanted to be anybody, it's James Bond, 007, yeah?
Let me, hold on. You really want to open up this can of worms again?
Yeah.
You did, yeah. So you did this on purpose?
No.
Oh, okay, because you're going to piss Neil off.
Why?
Right? Because what you said last time, man. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Like you don't remember what happened.
Tomorrow never dies, bro. Don't ever question my guy Piers, ever. It's crazy.
Neil's coming in. I told you,
man.
Bro. All right, man. The fact that you get him, Neil.
You know, the interesting thing about you and James Bond and your love for Pierce Brosnan is that when the first Bond that Pierce Brosnan was in, it wasn't even written with him in mind. They actually had Timothy Dalton in mind, who was better than Pierce Brosnan, in my opinion.
No, if he was better, he would have been in it. If he was better, he would have been in it.
They made a mistake, and then they doubled down on the Bond that had a little bit more like youth and oomph to him, a little more edge, and that's why they went with Daniel Craig after, because Timothy Dalton did it first after Roger Moore, and they were going to continue with him. I don't know why they did. But I mean, like, no disrespect to Pierce Brosnan, but what I can get behind, however, he's not a superhero, is wanting to be James Bond. I can get behind that, wanting to be James Bond.
Oh, yeah.
I can get behind that.
He's not a superhero.
Disagree with who the best James Bond is.
Agreed.
I'm going to throw this out there, though. Most people will not know who this is, but my favorite superhero as a kid was the actual. I say the original Captain Marvel. I don't mean the movie Captain Marvel. If you ever read the comic books. Like, so the Captain Marvel in the comic books had an interesting sort of alter ego. Like, it wasn't that he had an alter ego. He literally would trade places with a regular dude. And when Captain Marvel was in the world, this other guy had to sit in like this like negative zone, and like they were in each other's heads, but he would just sit there and he's by himself, and they would trade places. So it's like, forget about the alter ego. As he's saving the world, this regular dude has to have his life disrupted, and he's just sitting in the middle of like some alternate dimension by himself in Captain Marvel's head. And then they would switch places. So like the literal mental discipline to not go insane, but be able to sacrifice for yourself to, well, now you're going to have to, got to tag you in. I get to now sit out for the next like couple of days while you go save the world. And I'm just sitting there. All this nonsense. It's a really interesting dynamic that no one else touched again. When they did the Captain Marvel movie, I'm like, oh my goodness, are they going to do this? And then they completely changed it all up and went a different direction, which is neither here nor there. It stunk. Anyways, back to trading. And, there is something different.
What happened?
Can I go to the market for a second? If I can. I'm shorting Circle.
Oh!
Because, okay, for two reasons. One, because it's stair-stepping down. Two, because... well, I just looked at what happened at the end of the day. Yes, I was looking at the charts and I was going over a few things. I was looking at core, we do nothing. And I noticed this breakout at the top on Circle. And then I was actually talking with the algo guys about how choppy everything was. And there was just no distinction. Like, look at all this nonsense above that breakout price. And then eventually it turned. Well, things got very clear right around here where it bounced and goes right into that 200 zone that it broke away from. So if it's taking the stairs down, 200, 199, 198. So what do you think I'm doing? I'm shorting the 198 into 196. I think it can go. I should probably take something out at 97. But let's see what can happen, because I think the market's slowly trending back in. But you just you've had this distinction of stocks that are slowly trending up and ones that are slowly trending down. And if you can weasel your way into one of those trends, it's been a pretty decent hold. So I'm going to see if we can't get the low of the day on Circle. And, as I said, the best... well, I actually didn't say it this time. I'm going to end with, obviously, the best bond is Sean Connery. I just realized I hadn't said that in this little rant. So it is certainly Sean Connery.
It can't be said
enough.
enough.
No questions asked. No
what
questions
happened last time was, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen too many times. But you're entitled to your opinion, Joey. Joey Options.
Yeah, I know I am. And that.
But your opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
No, man, you can't disrespect Sean Connery.
If I could actually be any superhero, it'd probably be Rorschach, to be honest with you. For those who know off the beaten path, you probably don't know who Rorschach is.
I have no idea. I know I've heard about a Rorschach test.
Yeah, the Watchman.
Neil likes it.
Come on, yeah.
Neil likes it. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, the Watchman is obviously one of the sickest out there.
Let me just cover a couple of things over here, guys. Adara, did you see the super chat from your friend Alfredo Perez? Thank you very much, Alfredo. $1.99. Adara, my trading beauty, absolutely stunning. Adara, you're getting love in the chat from your boy.
Thank you, Alfredo, for the super chat. That is very kind.
You saw that hair flip, too. See that hair flip?
I don't want the mic in my hair.
Okay.
Or the hair in the mic. But no, so for one, my pick would be Batman or Martian Manhunter for the superhero thing. And for another, Sharif, I like that you said both Tony Stark and Batman are good with women, because if you watch the 1966 Batman movie, I would say that is not the case. Batman trying to flirt with undercover Catwoman is just so awkward and uncomfortable.
No, you're actually absolutely right. That ended up being a later development, so you're absolutely right about that. Shout out to Adara. I love the old Batman TV show, not the movie, and I'm not talking about the 60s movie. I didn't watch that, but I love the old TV show. Hence, where this comes from. Who remembers this? Pow, boom.
Yeah,
yes, this is literally where it's from, bro. So shout out to that. All right, guys, let's cover some trades. SBET is on one. We took over $1 on this one. Big move here on SBET to the high side, baby. We took it out there at 27.80s and we scalped up into 81, so almost exactly $1. So SBET's on that good stuff right now. $29 high of day on SBET. Look at Criminal Go. We haven't even taken anything off this Joey Options. Boom on Criminal into the high of the day. Let's go. And then look at my other friend over here, ZEPP. I can't help it. I just having a problem. I'm Canadian and I can't help it.
Sorry.
This one, it's got a spread though on it, so we're not getting the print. It's been about 14.25 several times, and I still am going unprinted on this one. We're long at 76. I think this area top here was 14.29, but the spread was prohibitive. at that level. So what I'm looking for here is a decisive break of 14. You're still having trouble with 14 on a closing basis, despite the fact that we've been up to 15. So I'm thinking about wetting the beak here just because I'm kind of a little worried that this one doesn't print me. So we'll take out some here at 14. I'll leave 14 in the fifth active. I'll leave 14 and a half hours, 1460. They're active as well. So if we can get a nice price spike up, I'm all ears, baby, on this one. So keeping my eye on ZEPP, Criminal, and SBET, guys. Good day on small caps today.
Yeah, really good look there, guys. Bob was going bonkers, so shout out to Tyler, the creator there. But a big time move from 113 all the way to 116, up 7.8% on the session, and it doesn't look like it wants to slow down. So a really, really nice move here on Alibaba. And you can see on the 5-minute, I just was staring this one down, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to risk my mental capital. It wasn't even worth the trade. Sometimes you just need to execute. If the price is telling you, just try to eliminate the bias and just go with what the PA is telling you. It may or may not work out. Don't complicate it. And unfortunately, that was what I did here on Alibaba, because this hammer right at the lows offered that positive news, and then sure enough, it just hasn't even looked back. So that's an all-day trender right there in Alibaba, a big-time move, and it's unfortunate that we missed out on that one. And we missed out on the reload. We just didn't take it there on AMD, but that's fine. I can't complain. Not a horrible session, but Bitcoin starting to recover here as well, guys, so that's a positive look. Let's see if we can break through it. I was suspecting that, hey, maybe we fill a part of this gap. Oh, okay, we did, so about 40 to 50% of it. So that's roughly right. So the next level would be see, okay, can we break through this resistance where we had that gap down open up this morning at 4 a.m.? And then if you have the ability to hold this, then I'd be looking for the break of that pre-market high or the test of that this intraday high right there. So that could be a potential trade thesis. But I do believe we are going to see a short-term pullback, just a matter of how deep or shallow it may be. What do you got going on there, bro?
I just want to show this quickly so you don't get dinged. Oh, man, Iron Man, this is it, bro. This is
Why didn't he use that one more? I think that silver one is the sick. Maybe that's a little hint at Silver Surfer, but maybe not.
That's actually a good point. Remember the Iron Man 2, he had a bunch of different suits, and then he started, like, they were flying on their own. They were autonomous.
Yeah, I love that silver one the most. Okay, guys, make sure you put in those tickets for the rundown. $, and then something that you guys want to look at. I am going to go $, Baba, just because of that. We got that the Chinese GDP coming out super hot, and we're up close to 8% on Alibaba Group. So a really good look on that front. Now let's pull up MSTR, because I know a lot of people are talking about this in the chat, MSTR, and some people are asking me, well, hey Joe, why weren't you short this? I just wasn't thinking about it this morning. I traded MSTR yesterday, didn't really work out too well for me, so I'm like, you know what? Let's just avoid it and stick to names that work for us, all right? So continue to put those tickers in the chat, whether it be Alibaba, MSTR, whatever it may, you can put anything you would like. But here it is, MSTR starting to head back towards that 542, and I think at some point they will. That's why this guy's doing so many share offerings, is because he's just taking the money that you buy shares off him and then just buying more Bitcoin. So that's essentially what's going on. And why do you want to do that? Because his goal is to not only get you the appreciation of Bitcoin, but then also the appreciation in the stock itself. So that's why it's just kind of been a really, really big movement. A lot of financial gibberish, but what Michael Saylor is doing is pretty interesting stuff.
All right, Jaguar Frisco, you're one of them as well. Handyman Nick, you're another. I don't mean to call you guys out. Junk food for kids, you're another culprit. All of you guys did not, Assassino, put the $ on the ticker. You gotta throw. What's happening there, bro?
I'm catching flies.
That's great. You should try with a chopstick. You ever seen those videos of people trying to catch flies with chopsticks?
No.
That'll make you go crazy. No, but seriously, guys, make sure to throw in that $. Otherwise, that amazing program that the Chilean Nightmare made will not register it. So you got to throw in the $, 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker automatically registers. Guys, I want to mention that CYCC, the big boy mover, up almost 400%. Is halted back to the upside. Anuview, you and I were going back and forth, and I think you and I were kind of at odds here with whether or not this one could take 15. It did take 15, 1632. Here's what I saw, Anuview. I'm not taking a victory lap here. What I kept seeing was higher lows. So you got the area trough through that 10.5, and then you had that buyer step in at 11.5, and then for whatever reason, Anuview, they started stepping in at 12.5, $1 higher every time, and that was a perfect recipe for a flat top break. I'll submit to you the flat top break through 14.5 or 15. Kind of hard to gauge in any event. We are halted at 16:32 with the halt time having taken place at 12:47:32. So we will be open at earliest over here at, so it's going to be 52:31. It is showing me 51, 58, it's now 52 right now, so we have 30 seconds until this one opens. Be on the lookout. But oh baby, we're taking all the prints here on my friend ZEPP. Back into the high side, we got 76 ons. We just took the $0.50 right now on ZEPP. I'm canceling this order up here. I'm going to get greedy, call me crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and wait above 15. That is the high of the day. 14.99 is the high of the day. So I'm going to look to take my profit taker above that high come hell or high water, or I'll get stopped out. I get stopped out break even. Let's go ahead and throw that in now. So we're going to go 13.74. We'll give it 2 pennies all the way down. Then we have to obviously give it a spread because it's a spready ticker. So we'll go break even on this one. I want to see ZEPP take out 15 bucks if possible, and that's why I put my order there at 15.75. So that's what I'm looking at right now, guys. The small caps are in play today. They've been strong. Adira asked me earlier about how I gauge strength or weakness in the small caps. Almost all of these small caps are above VWAP. CYCC, ENPA the exception, ZEPP above, USAR above, YOUL above, Criminal above, SLDP above, SBET above. SBET just made another intraday high, 29.15. This one looks like it could be bull flagging again here, Joseph, setting up a little bit below that 29. We're going to have to keep an eye out on this one, Adair.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know, again, these headlines are not super market moving, but I think they're worth noting nonetheless. Wall Street Journal reporting that it seems like Canada, or specifically Prime Minister Mark Carney, is accepting the fact that these U.S. tariffs might remain in place even if the countries reach a bilateral agreement to solve the current tariff issue. So keep an eye here on the market. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. Donald Trump has basically said that once the tariffs are sent out, that is the deal. There's no really further talks. So we're going to have to wait and see what all that entails. But either way, Wall Street Journal reporting that apparently Mark Carney has signaled that these U.S. tariffs might be here to stay. This is a slightly older article. It's about 20 minutes old, so around 12:30 p.m. But it's just circulating here on social media right now, so I think it's worth mentioning. Also, I just checked True Social again. We still don't have any update on the specifics of the Indonesian trade deal. We know that Howard Lutnick earlier basically said that the U.S. will be paying 0% tariffs on Indonesian goods, but Indonesia, will be paying a tariff on U.S. goods. So unclear the specifics of that deal still. That's what Lutnick said earlier today. Back to you.
Wow.
That's so frustrating.
You good?
Yeah. I'm
Entry errors? Because that's like my life right there, bro.
It's like
my life is entry errors. I'd really like to be a double standard.
Man, what a short on SMCI.
Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, no, I was looking at SMCI potential short, but I need to order them and I don't want to.
Oh, they're pay, eh?
Yeah, I don't want to get locates for this. So that is. What were you saying though?
No, I was about to say I really need to set up hotkeys for these small cap gappers. You know, I'd like to do these one tap hotkeys. Obviously, the risk is you screw up.
You press once.
Yeah.
Like I did the other day. I flattened out of like a monster winner. I'm like, no.
Well, yeah, that's kind of that's the update there. My thinking about this one is I want to separate the large orders from the smaller orders by some distance. So you put the smaller orders over here and the larger orders over here. That way you don't fat finger into a huge order, which I've done in the past. Right. So it kind of that's part and parcel of that whole thing. All right, we got a question. So Kelvin GTS, thank you. $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my man. Can we see or get an update on Adara's position? And 2, what do the boys think about Hood for today? Adara, you want to update us on your positions before we get into Hood?
Yeah, sure. I was not expecting that, but yeah, we'll talk about it. So I am, I think right now, only in this Wells Fargo short. I'll pull that up, WFC. So this is what's happening here. I don't know my average. I'm not actively checking my P&L during the day. I'll just zoom in on this. But it's, I mean, we first got in here around 79.60s, added 79.20s, added again at 78.80s. Again, unsure of the average, but I'm looking for that flat bottom break. As you can see here, I have a profit taker just below 77s. That's based on some levels in the daily and weekly charts. I already did take some profit here at 78.80s before I added at that level because that was also a level on the weekly. And as you can see, we did bounce there. I was in a Lily short that actually failed. I thought the move was going to continue. It's kind of reverting right now. I was also in a Coinbase short earlier today, but in terms of active positions, it's only this WFC short. Again, I don't actually know my average on this, unfortunately, but the bulk of the position is here at 79.60s. I did previously have a short here earlier than I just covered when it looked like we were breaking VWAP. So slightly profitable on that trade, currently in the money on the one I'm in. Oh, I'm not.
So you asked me a question earlier. I'm gonna have a question for you.
Oh.
What criteria did you have to decide whether or not to add into your position?
I like that question. Thank you for that question, Sharif. So for me, it's like if I don't like to have additions just to kind of move my stop lower or like look for reasons to add. I don't like that because I find if I do that, then I'm going to move my stop prematurely. So in this case for me, it's like I was using, you know, I'm basically using prior bars on different time frames for this trade anyway. Initially, I just was kind of watching a VWAP level, seeing what was happening. But in this case, both of these cases, I was like, I think these are natural levels. Oh, nice, we just got the flat bottom break. They were levels where I felt I didn't need to prematurely move my stop. And if I'm adding like the right number of size, I don't really have an issue doing it. So basically, it's going to be something, I don't mind if it moves my average a little bit, but I just don't want to be oversized if I'm wrong. So anything where I feel like I can still be moderately sized, but respect what the trade is giving me and try to get more out of it, that is, I guess, my metric for sizing. It's very much on a case-by-case basis, for lack of a better term.
Love it. Thank you, Adira, for chiming in. Thank you for telling us your technique. Joey, do you want to have a look at Hood for
We're going to pull up Hood here, guys. The market just took an additional leg lower, too. So very interesting stuff. Kind of kicking myself for not taking another attempt on AMD, but it is what it is. We'll accept the fact and wait for another opportunity. But here it is, Robinhood. You can see that we double topped right at 101.27. So that's important to note. And now we're heading back towards the volume weighted average price. So double top on Robinhood. 1 second, we got the breaking news. I'll make it quick. The daily, I mean, you're up 200 and something % from those Liberation Day lows. There's not much more we can ask for in Robinhood other than just to continue climbing and don't pull back too deep, 240% to be exact. Adara, what do you got for us?
Apparently, we've got some new announcements here from Donald Trump. I'm not seeing anything on his Truth Social, but I guess I'm seeing comments coming through. I'll wait and see. Apparently, he said that it's too bad if there's no deal in 50 days, that Indonesia will pay 19% tariff and the U.S. will pay nothing. And he said apparently similar deals are in the works. They've also, interestingly enough, in this Indonesian deal, they've somehow secured full market access with 0% tariff, but Indonesia is still going to have to pay them a 19% tariff. He also said, basically that Ukraine should not be targeting Russia. And they're going to be, I guess, having some new deals here for full access in Indonesia. There's something really crazy here. But yeah, he basically said with Russia, it's too bad if there's no deal in 50 days. So more of this is, from what I can see with these comments, has to do with Russia and Ukraine than anything else. With tariffs, there's really nothing new here. We already knew Howard Lutnick hinted at that 0% tariff that the U.S. would be paying. And then also Trump said about Brazil, quote, we have tariffs going on, which is also not anything new. Unclear if that's what the market's reacting to, but I'm not seeing any other headlines. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for thank you for that, Adara. So let's just break this down here momentarily to see, like, hey, where did we go wrong and what can we do next time to make sure that we do take those opportunities? So this is what's going on, right? So we take the short off of this specific signal right here. We get the move. We take it all out at the lows. Good job. You get the retest of the trend line. You have the inability to construct a new high of the day. You take the short. There you go, you move on. Now, we have to, it's like, okay, so why didn't I take the third attempt? It's worked for me twice. Why wouldn't I take it for a third time just to see what happened? You go smaller size. If it starts to work out, you add into the position. Well, there's so many things now that I'm looking back, obviously hindsight 2020, but this is how you improve, right? So we have the lower high here, but then we also establish one here as well. So that's really key to note as you're above VWAP. It's like, okay, take that at the trend line. at the trend line hold and then look for that move lower, all right? So now we've got these indecisions right at some key support levels, which is, I think, really important to note because that's going to be some pre-market highs and some intraday lows. So just keep that in mind. I'm seeing that indecision print across the board here on a lot of these names, AMD, TQs, the SPY, and also NVDA and Tesla, but that doesn't mean we're going to necessarily get that bounce. Could I be wrong? Obviously, and I hope that I am for all the individuals that are short, but what I'm really trying to focus on here is you have to take that third swing. And for me, I'm glad that I just analyzed that. And most definitely, if I see those setups, high quality setup, you have the inability to construct any new highs of the day twice, I think you're going to look for that continuation in the short. So there it is. Boom, you get that move lower. Come back, retest, not the best entry, but we'll take it. You get that move lower, you get stopped out a small amount, and then you have to take that third entry for that retest of the low of the day streak.
That's a great looking chart, Joey.
Yeah.
That's a great looking chart.
We'll take it, we'll take it.
Shout out to KC526, $10 super chat. Thank you, Sharif, on CYCC. You're the best. No, you're the best. Thank you very much. And this is what happened over here. So CYCC is a dang rocket ship, guys. We're talking about the higher lows. It just made a new high a day, $19.25. But alas, these ones are, I'm going to say it again. I'm sorry. It sounds like a broken record. They're around for a good time, not a long time. Because off that $19.25 high, we are now halted down at $16.55 in the same 5-minute candle. And trust me when I tell you, I was watching this when it halted. It did not spend too much time above 19. It was a quick wick and then right back down we went. We danced in the 18s for a little bit and then lost 17 actually quite quickly. The theoretical auction price right now, not looking too hot, baby. It's about $1 lower, more than $1 lower than where we halted, $16.55, the halt level. The tap, the theoretical auction price, showing me $15.30. So we are slated to open down. Alas, we would still be above, get that fly, Neil. We still be above the 10 EMA on the 5 if we were to open up at 15.31. Believe it or not, the 10 EMA is literally at 15.30. So let's see if this one ends up holding. What the halt time is, 12:59.11. The current time, 1:03:37. So we will open up at the earliest at 1:04:11. That is about, 30 seconds away, give or take. So let's keep the screen on here. I want to see if we open up, well, we'll open up obviously where the tap is, but whether or not we catch a bid on the open or we continue to sell off. So this has been a very good one. It's up 400% currently on the dot, like 400% with the 2 decimal places having been halted at 16.55. Let's just see what time it is now. So this one will be a 10-minute halt at least. So it didn't open up on the 5-minute mark. That means it will be halted for at least 10 minutes. Now, it had done that prior. Recall, the halt at 10:45 ended up lasting till 10:55. Most of the halts on CYCC today have been 5, but this one looks like it will be the second 10-minute halt. Now, let's talk a little bit about why I always say these things, bad things about small cap gappers, despite the fact that I trade them. Look what happened over here. Get it, Adara. Look at this. Oh my goodness. ZEPP, bro, it bamboozled me. Look, Joey, it was at 14.50, and then it caught a sell to 13. It lost $1.50,
Damn.
quick as you like. And then look at this. It's going to take out 14.50 right now. And that's what these small cappers do, especially the ones that are spready. This one looks like it's catching a bid right now, though, to the high side, 14.60, 14.50. It's about being able to get a good price. It looks like we may take out $15 here on ZEPP, maybe because CYC's halted and all the adrenaline junkies and the degens who trade these small cap gappers, myself included, need something to punch into. We can't just sit there, hands not doing anything. We need something to punch into. So it looks like this one may be catching a bid now on the way to 15, possibly. It did reject 15. Originally, 14.99 is the high of the day. And then we dropped about 13.5, held that level. That's why I got stopped out. I did get stopped out break even, though, so I don't mind this one too much. Obviously, I would have rather participated in the up move, but that's kind of beyond my control, Joey, because it dropped $1 below my stop, so couldn't really let that one go.
Good.
So that's basically it right now. We're keeping an eye on that. I'm going to start the news over here. And do you have anything you want to cover before I jump in?
No, again, I'm just, guys, I'm just kind of going back to the roots. I mentioned this before. Went through not the best stretch, but I'm like, all right, because at some point, sorry, Sri, I'm going to get into this for a second.
Take your time, bro. Yeah.
So there's a point in your trading where you think everything and anything and everything you touch is going to turn to gold. And then eventually the market's going to teach you a lesson very, very quick.
So true.
And then when that happens, it's just best to get back to what you got you to there in the first place. And that's just being really decisive, being patient. And that's kind of just what I'm leaning towards again, because that feeling of euphoria will cause you a lot of trouble in trading. And then you'll get extremely frustrated as well, too, because you're like, why isn't that working? I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Not to say that you don't know what you're doing, but the market knows better. It's your job to participate. And that's just kind of what I've been aiming at to do here. I've been more patient, not necessarily gunslinging, and just going back to my sniper ways. And with that being said, it's just for me, I found it was my niche. I was significantly better at it. The less trades I took, the better trading I did, and the less time in the market, the better off I was, all right? So that's just me personally. So you won't see me, it's just not necessarily my most effective style. So I like to have precision entries, and when I do, I have the ability to present this stuff to you guys, right? Instead of me hyper-focusing on, oh, I'm gonna miss this trend, oh, I'm gonna miss this, I'm gonna miss that. No, it's just like find what signals are presented to you, find what got you to this place in the first place, and then just look to build off of that, and just don't get too ahead of yourself.
Well, that's it. That's fantastic stuff right there, man. I think if you have a look at the chat, you've gotten a lot of love there. So I think a lot of people, you know, they really like what you have to say there, and myself included, man, because it's such a psychological roller coaster.
And Alibaba is going on a roller coaster as well too right now. So
it's a great move though on Baba there. You have to they're going to get their hands on some chips. You know, a good consistent supply of chips at least for the moment until Donald Trump feels differently.
China economy is robust.
Well, we'll see, man. I mean, dude, they got a ton of people who all love, not all, but you know what I mean, like a large proportion of they love tech, they love technology, they love everything like that. Everything okay up there, Dara?
So I want to thank you very much, Dara.
They got the button.
No,
that was good.
Way.
The Chilean Nightmare did it?
Can I explain the context of this button quickly? So if people don't realize, the CEO of Uber, whose name is Dara, he attended this roundtable with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump pronounced his name incorrectly. He pronounced it as Dara, and then a couple times said, thank you, Dara, like he would do the verbal pause and then say Dara. So yeah, I'm pleased as punch that is now a button, and thank you very much to Fabian and the production team for making that happen. And
Get it, Fabian. Yeah, I know she's been wanting that one for a while. So she got what she wanted there. Shout out to Adara, because that was a good, I like that one. I mean, if Donald said my name, I'd want it as a voice as well. An audio, I mean. All right, let's talk about the CPI, guys. I think we ended up printing lower than the expectations. This is prior to the release, so a lot of this information will be dated, but we were looking for inflation in specific sectors like auto apparel, which actually saw declines in May, also in footwear, electronics, and furniture. These are seen as top barometers for tariff inflation. In case you're just wondering what I'm talking about here, we got CPI this morning, and it was better than expected for the most part, with core and headline coming better than expectations. But I did not do a deep dive to see which areas continued to experience inflation and which areas saw deflation. But this article posited that this is where we would see it. I'm going to pause for a second because CYCC is open and it is rejecting the halt level of 1650. So it popped up exactly into 1650 where it halted prior and it rejected. Be on the lookout for a decisive take of 16 or 1650 and then 17. This one could easily see 20. And if not more. So CYCC came back from the depths of hell, so to speak, with higher lows, and now it is catching a bit to the high side. I don't mind jumping into this one, but I need to see. There we go. It's going to halt here, guys, at 1750. False halt at 1750. Go ahead, Adara.
Jay, dropping here. In case you did not know, this is a Brazilian company, and we know Donald Trump just said here that the tariffs with Brazil are on. They were previously announced at 50%. compared to the 10% tariff on Brazil that Trump announced on Liberation Day. So Trump hiking the tariffs here pretty significantly. Well, now we have some commentary coming from the CEO of Embraer, or ERJ, company saying they actually might have to revise their business plan due to U.S. tariffs. They said they're confident that Brazil and the U.S. can reach a bilateral agreement. Either way, ERJ could be a bit of a rocky one here. They're saying that they might have to revise their business strategy due to these U.S. tariffs on Brazil. Back to you.
Go ahead, Jay.
I thought they were going to hit that button there. Thank you for that one. Yeah, it's all right. Hey, it's all right.
All right, I just want to cover CYCC.
Go right ahead.
All right, guys, we broke through 17 and change now. CYCC took out the halt level. It's not directly going through 18. It did. Okay, so the current candle high is 1761. I was telling Joseph I saw a buyer here at 1650. I'm looking at the 5-second chart, as you know. Now the buyer has stepped in a little bit higher now. It's a 1675 buyer. Here we go. Now we're dipping into 75. Do we have a hold at 75? We're losing 75. We're into the 60s now. I'm keeping my eye on the 5-minute chart. It feels like we're putting in lower lows and lower highs now. This is what I'm seeing, so you can kind of see what I see over here. This is a downtrend. You can kind of see with the area spike, and we've been kind of making these lower lows. So when I said there was a buyer, 16 and a half over here. So he does step in at 16.75, but there's no continuation. Do you see how this is? This is 5 seconds.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's how you split out micro pullbacks. It's either that or you want to pay up for bookmap, or you like take your pick, baby. So here we go. We're still zigging and zagging. Area high. This feels like it's on the way up, Joey. I'm going to get long. Go ahead. Take over for a second.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely. Do you see what I see? Yeah, all right, guys. Let's find something out here. Alibaba's starting to get slightly extended. Now, with that being said, we'll pull up the chart here momentarily just to see what we got going on. If we are looking for that mean reversion, then we got to do Obi's question tree. All right. Is it counter trend? Yes. How deep is this pullback going to be? That we obviously don't know, but don't expect too much, especially when a stock has been up 8%. All right. So just keep that in mind. I would love to see some indecision prints up here around the highs, but I'm also not going to be looking for that move all the way back to the volume weighted average price. I think in this case, that would be a super bonus, a Mark Zuckerberg signing bonus, if you had the ability to get to 114.80. I don't think that's going to be the case. So I did just sing that, Christmas. I'm glad that you recognize that because Sharif said something around there, and then my mind just goes to song. But anyways, that's what I'm looking at here right now, is that these potential topping signals, you can see them on the 5-minute displayed significantly better. So what happens if we close like this? You can see that now we have this engulfing print with an additional one following, so that can be a positive sign. Now, our risk profile is also defined. We know that get out slightly above the previous highs, and then maybe we get that curl over. But with that being said, it's not going to be looking for that massive reversion back to VWAP. It's, okay, where is that next base? Where is that next level? And that could only be a couple pennies. This is a potential resistance zone right here that's acting as support, 116.81. Then you want to go to the lower end of the range after that, so 116.33. So you're about 50 cents off of that move. And then now you would want to look for that 116.08. And I think at that point, if the name hasn't bounced, you can still hold the bulk of your position. But for an 8% stock to move all the way back to the volume weighted average price, I don't like my chances there, but I also want to have the ability to take advantage of a potential trade like this, considering how extended from VWAP we are. So that is me game planning. Me telling you, plan the trade the plan, and that's exactly what we're looking to do here on Alibaba. Another retest of the highs. We have the inability to construct a new one, then I think that we can get short just using our defined risk profile and then look for certain shallow pullbacks as our potential target. Sharif, what do you got going on?
All right, we're printing up a storm, man. There we go, man. Into 18 on, what's it called? CYCC, but it is coming back in over here. We have 35s. I've taken out 18s, back into 70s. There was a seller here at 40s that we couldn't shake, and we got shares on, but it is losing the bid. It's so annoying. All right, so let's take out more shares up in this area over here so we can just lock in some profits. It just doesn't want to go in a straight line. So let me set up some bids up, or some offers, excuse me, up here. And then we'll also set up some, there it is. Now it is taking out my levels. Let's go. Let's see if we can get up into 25s. up into 78. So we got 23 on. There's a 70 seller right back down into where it came. Anything below 17 gets me out of this trade now, okay? So we're going to have to hold 17. We've got higher lows on, and I don't want to be involved in this one if it's going to put in lower lows. So every successive area trough a little bit higher. If it loses 17, I'm going to flatten out. I've taken out the majority of the trade for some profits, but it is not continuing up above 18, and it's got a lot of resistance. It feels like in the high 17s and certainly around 18. And down it goes now into the low 17s. It feels like it will lose 17 now, Joey, unless some buyer steps in here up into the 30s. It's really zigging and zagging. I've already kind of put in my stop south of 16, but I've got my finger on the flatten key here because it does have multiple lower highs ever since that 18 attempt. All right, so now we're back into that 40 area, kind of defending 17 and a quarter. Generally, we did have a buyer of note here. I want to say, oh, there it is. Now we're going to lose 17. I'll flatten out there. So we'll take a trade on this one. A good trade nonetheless, but whoo. Jeez Louise.
Breather.
Yeah, that seller at 18, I just couldn't shake that seller at 18 there. So kind of annoying there. So anyway, all good. We'll start the news now.
Yeah, absolutely. Sharif, we're cooking up here in Alibaba right now.
I like it. That's what I want
to
hear.
Just going to take a little bit off the top here, guys, because I mentioned that I'm not expecting too much, and I'll leave a little bit of a runner. Love that I got to type in the exchange, too. So now I probably already missed my profit targets. Yeah, all right, let's take some off here, guys. Boom. And then we'll just leave a little bit for a runner. Actually, let me cancel that. I want a better price. Sharif, fire it up for me there, brother.
All right, well, KC526, she already dropped her super chat, Joey, and she just dropped another one. $50 super chat there. Shout out to KC526. Sharif, you and CYCC made my day. No, you made my day. Get it? KC526. I don't know your real name. If you want to tag me with your real name, I'd love to shout you out. Thank you very much for the super chat. Very kind of you. Get it, Randy. All right, let's do this news right now. So let's talk about NVIDIA. And now, oh, hey, Randy. Did you hear about your boy Donald flipping the switch there? All of a sudden he's okay with the H20 going out to China? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you heard about that, huh? And China. Jensen was in the White House on Friday.
Imagine that.
I wonder what they were talking about.
Coffee?
Maybe they were talking about the Cybertruck, right?
Maybe.
We know Donald Trump's got a big affinity for Tesla lately, right? Maybe they were talking about that. Little. How you doing? How's everything going back there?
Doing?
It's not Friday yet.
It's not Friday, I
only
know.
Tuesday,
it feels
man.
like the body, though. The body feels like Friday.
Oh.
You see
Hold on.
your buddy Russ?
It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday.
It's Friday again.
It's Saturday.
You see your buddy Russ there? His bike got stolen, huh? So the guy who's doing the construction, he didn't want to bring his bike inside because we kind of just glazed we put the finishing touches on that yellow stuff outside, the yellow flooring, which everybody loves. So he didn't want to dirty it up. So he tied his bike, he changed it out outside. He literally went to the bathroom for 5 minutes. Now he's actually working right in front of his bike because he's in the corner where the Algo boys are going to be. And he was like literally gone for 10 minutes, and that's all the 10 minutes that they needed. They scooped his bike. Who's on the video taking the bike? You got a guy, huh? Should we put his face on over here? Okay. We're going to call him out. We're going to do it live.
Yeah.
We're going to do it live. He's going to send me the video, and we're going to call him out.
That's crazy,
and
man.
if you see this scumbag, yeah, well, you know, call somebody.
Don't call me.
Don't call me. Joey doesn't want none of that. He's like, look, bro, I get paid, but I don't get paid that much. Like, I'm not going to get my hands dirty unless I'm getting paid, baby. All right, guys. So let's do the news now. Let's do the news.
Yeah, let's fire that up.
All right, guys. NVIDIA announced that it expects to resume H20 shipments to China following assurances from the U.S. government that the license to do so will be granted. The H20 was previously halted by the U.S. export restrictions back in April, despite actually being specifically designed for China and to comply with earlier controls. To be fair, those controls were put under the previous administration. News of resumed sales is a major positive catalyst, obviously, for NVIDIA's China business, which has seen its market share cut in nearly half. since the restrictions took in effect. It used to be about 20% of its 20% of sales used to go to China. That's about 10 now, from what I understand. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang recently increased lobbying efforts, as I was just joking with Randy there, arguing that export controls hurt U.S. AI leadership. Last week, he met with Donald Trump, and by last week it was on Friday, to express support for onshoring and job creation. So he's taking all the boxes that Donald wants to hear about, right? While reiterating the need for U.S. to remain dominant in the AI race. I think, again, that's what we were talking about earlier, balancing those two competing interests. NVIDIA confirmed it's also working on a compliant lower tier AI chip specifically for China. In addition to the now reinstated H20, the company unveiled their RTX Pro, described as a fully compliant and optimized for smart factories and logistics. Those specifics on eligibility were a little unclear. Analysts kind of see this as NVIDIA hedging against any future policy shifts while continuing to expand product depth in China. That's what I was telling Joey off camera, that, Donald's okay with it now, but, maybe Xi pisses him off when they have that summit, and all of a sudden, the H20's back on that ban list. Who needs that kind of crap, right? So Huang is currently in China, currently as we speak, meeting with government and tech leaders, discussing safe AI development and innovation partnerships. Chinese manufacturers, they still prefer NVIDIA chips, and the license reversal gives them more time before relying on what could be domestic alternatives, Joey. We still have not seen too much in the way of domestic manufacturing of AI chips.
Yeah. We all know that it's in obviously in America's best interest for them to even sell them the lesser chip, the H20 that is, because you want to keep them in that ecosystem and not kind of sway. As Sharif likes to say, necessity is one of the leaders to innovation.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
you kind of want them to sway. Obviously, one of your arch rivals, frenemies, I guess we can call them, because they both essentially need each other, the two largest economies. But yeah, that's where we did. That's why we short Alibaba a little bit, but then we get stopped out. But yeah, as for the H20s, is even more positive news for NVDA.
I agree. All right, let's talk a little trade desk here. So it's getting added to the S&P, in case you didn't notice, and it jumped big. I don't know where it's at right now, but it was up 14% yesterday in after-hours trading. The addition will be effective on Friday, this Friday, replacing Ansys, which is being acquired by Synopsys in a $35 billion closing deal or closing acquisition. That deal closes on Thursday, that acquisition for $35 billion, and then TTD goes into the S&P on Friday. Index additions, if you don't know, that's something we learn here on the floor, typically trigger buying from ETFs and passive funds. It creates a bit of an upside momentum, so look for trade desk to catch a bit of a bid. We'll see if that continues or not. So the trade desk $37 billion market cap places it kind of near the middle of the S&P 500 in terms of valuation. And this is what's interesting about this edition. So while most index changes occur during scheduled quarterly rebalancing, acquisitions throw that off a little bit. Acquisitions allow what they call off-cycle substitutions, just like this one. A similar one was when Datadog replaced Juniper Networks after an acquisition close. So you typically what you'll get is the rebalancing every quarter, but when a company is acquired mid-quarter, you can get an addition or a deletion in the middle of the quarter, so something that we take advantage of here. The trade desk remains down from when this article was written, about 36% year to date. But this is after 2 solid years, guys. In 24, they printed 63% increase year over year. And in 2023, they printed 61%. Just give you some information here, then we'll send it to Adara. The company was founded in 2009 by Jeff Green and David Pickles. The Trade Desk is a leading digital ad platform. It competes with the Amazons and the Googles in programmatic advertising, and it went public in 2016 back on the Nasdaq, has about 3,500 employees at Dara, and it's headquartered in Ventura, California.
Interesting note there about David Pickles. I noticed the same thing when I read the story this morning. I want to talk a little bit here. Donald Trump here commenting, I guess, saying that a couple deals will be announced soon with regards to tariffs. Now, he's also said that if a country gets a letter, that is a deal. So it's unclear if by that he means they're going to be in talks or they actually will be announcing these letters, which count as deals. If I get more details, I'll let you know. But one thing I want to mention as well, Sharif, is just the amount of S&P 500 additions this year that have been companies I guess, getting replaced after acquisition. So of the 6 companies that have been added to the index this year, we've had Coinbase and we have Trade Desk, Coinbase, and Robinhood. So just under 50% of the companies that have been added to the S&P 500 this year were added as a result of another company getting acquired. So Coinbase, of course, Discover Financial got acquired, so they were removed. Then we had Datadog. Now we have Trade Desk. So interesting pattern here. A lot of these companies are not getting added on the quarterly rebalances. They're getting added with acquisitions. I just wanted to build on that point that Sharif was making. Back to you.
Classic point there, Derek. Thank you for adding that on. Brad L. Is his successor his daughter, Angela Pickles?
Angelica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
is that?
Rugrats, man. Tommy Pickles. You don't know Tommy Pickles?
Bro, I'm 100.
That's
Leave me
all right.
alone.
Yeah, that's
You're
fair.
embarrassing me, bro.
Tommy Pickles. Angelica.
No idea, bro. I got no idea. But what I do have an idea about is JP Morgan, and they did quite well today. Joey, 524 EPS, beating the 448 the street was looking for. But this was boosted, though, guys, by $774 million tax credit, which added about 28 pennies per share there for the EPS print. Revenue coming in ahead of expectations, $45.68 billion. The street wanted $44.06. I'm seeing CYCC's taking out 18, guys. Be careful with CYCC. It's really going here. It looks like it's going to take out 19 and a quarter. Big moves up here for CYCC, up 450%. Okay? So beating revenue here by about $1.5 billion more, $1.2 billion, based on strong fixed income trading as well as investment banking performance. Despite beating estimates, earnings did fall 17%, but there's a reason for that. It's partly due to a $7.9 billion gain that they realized in Q2 of 24. Now, in case you're wondering what the hell this is with Visa, so JP Morgan was actually invested in Class B shares for Visa prior to Visa going public. They had been holding those shares, and apparently those shares got reclassified, so they had to realize that profit. So it was a one-time line addition in Q2 of 2024. That's why the year-over-year comp is a little skewed. I don't think it speaks at all to the business slowing down. I think JPM's still the gold standard, Joey, over here. Do you have anything? Because I've got more a little bit.
Continue.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll finish after you.
So
go there.
revenue fell, again, 10% year over year, but again, excluding last year's Visa-related gains, the underlying performance showed solid growth. Core business strengths in market and advisory services offset the weaknesses elsewhere, a theme to watch, guys, across the entire banking sector. We'll get to that in Wells Fargo in a minute when I talk about net interest income. Our friend, very good friend, Jeremy Diamond, of course his name's Jamie, called Q2 results resilient, but he did flag 3 areas that are still of a concern to him. He's talking about trade policy uncertainty, aka a euphemism for tariffs, geopolitical instability. We know the world is very, very belligerent at the moment. Everywhere, it's growing everywhere, and it sucks. And the rising U.S. fiscal deficit. So all stuff that we're very well aware of, that we talk about all the time: deficits, belligerencies, and trade. Okay? So those are his 3 wild cards, so to speak. Otherwise, everything is hunky-dory. Anything on JPM?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is when I first started to recognize, and this was early in my trading journey. We all know what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, SVB. And I didn't really understand fundamentals to the extent here and how important they are to stocks. I was more of a technical trader. But after the acquisition of SVB's book, JPM's earnings just went on an absolute insane run, and I think it's still being sustained. So if you go from around here, that October 26th, to where it currently was, that's 104% in 2 years. And then now we go to the Liberation Day lows, 40%. So that's a big time move. For me, just seeing that type of growth is what led me to the trade in Robinhood. So I love JPM, one of my first options contracts that I ever traded, and I will continuously always be an advocate of JPM because I think it's a fantastic bank, and I love Jamie Dimon as well too. Adara, what do you got for us?
This is MP Materials. You know, this one on Watch earlier today with a deal with Apple. Now I'm seeing apparently CNBC reporting that the Pentagon is taking immediate action to boost critical mineral production in the U.S. and counter China's dominance of the supply chain for rare earth magnets. That's not necessarily new, but either way, I think it's worth keeping an eye on MP here, especially with the move this one's made today and in recent weeks. Back to you.
there for that. Let's go on to Wells Fargo here. I'm not going to have as detailed of a summary, just to tell you their Q2 net income, about $5.49 billion, or about $1.60 a share. That's well ahead of the street's expectations. They were looking for $4.91 billion, or about $1.33 a share. Strong year-over-year growth here for Wells Fargo. Profit rise driven by lower provisions of credit losses. So it looks as if, you know, they were pricing in some losses. Canadian banks did that as well, and it hasn't really come to fruition, not nearly as much as they were planning for. Despite the solid earnings, share fell 2.7%, at least in the pre-market, as net interest income guidance, disappointed. We'll get to that one here. So the revised 2025 interest income guidance now expected to be flat, guys, versus 2024, which is about $47.75 billion, down from a prior low single-digit growth outlook. So they're looking flat from a prior, again, low single-digit growth outlook. Analysts had anticipated that the cut due to weaker than expected NII, net interest income, in the first half of this year, and the sluggish, I should say, borrower demand amid higher rates. The original plan was for a stronger second half of this year and to rebound in net interest income. That's now, that whole theory, that whole perception or view is now under more scrutiny. Where they did continue to do well was loan repayments by consumers and businesses remain healthy, so defaults remain low. One of the first things you're always looking at to see if the consumer is getting squeezed: car loans and credit cards. They show up right away. Then the mortgages typically a little bit after that, as people will, sadly, if they're getting a crunch, will continue to pay their mortgage as one of the first things they'll continue to pay. So cars and credit cards typically are a bit of a bellwether or kind of a canary in the coal mine here. That's not being viewed, or that's not being seen, at least within Wells Fargo's purview. They continue to say the credit outlook improves as U.S. trade risks haven't triggered down yet. And then we all know about that pesky asset cap that they had back, I think, 2018 or 2017, when they were opening up fake accounts for people. The Fed removed that $1.95 trillion asset cap last month, ending the 7-year growth restriction. The cap had hampered Wells Fargo, while peers were able to expand above $2 trillion. Now the bank can pursue market share in wholesale, investment banking, trading. They're no longer capped, Joey, to that $1.95 trillion, and don't need to focus their operations to keep everything below that.
Yeah, I remember mentioning that not too long ago as well. A month ago, we were talking about that a little bit, Sharif, and I'm curious as to why you would want them to cap the total AU assets under management.
Because they screwed up, Joey. They so I went into the bank, right? I wanted to open up an account, and then the salespeople or the bankers were incentivized to open up accounts. And so what they ended up doing was they opened up without my permission. So all of a sudden I had these accounts. Why? Because they were getting bonuses. And so that incentivization was looked at as kind of a bad culture within the company. It was kind of being incentivized from the top echelons of the company, so they got dinged with an asset cap by the SEC.
There you go. Fair enough, and much appreciated from that one. But let's take a look at it from a technical standpoint. We'll pull it up here, and I mean, a really nice look. So a bounce off of this, a nice indecision print right at the lows. But Goldman Sachs, there was a nice consolidation breakout that I was looking at this. Where was it? Okay, maybe it wasn't. Yeah, maybe it was this one here. So a nice breakout. But I mean, we're talking about off of Liberation Day lows. You're up 57% here. So, I mean, a really, really good look. And any pullback, you're starting to form this cliff with the key support level. Anything south of that, a retest of the previous high, and then I would be looking to get involved. But it is slightly expensive. There's no questioning that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this CoreWeave. Look at this, bro. Look at that.
I know.
Tesla 150. I'm telling you. That's what I'm going to be looking for here, guys. As I mentioned on the show in the morning, I've been looking to get into CoreWeave Assassino here for a long time. I perceive this to possibly be a head and shoulders pattern. What I was telling Joseph multiple times was I was looking for a retest of the neckline break. That neckline to me is between 150 to 155. So I'm looking for a move back up, possibly into 150, 155, and I think that that's going to be my short. The first day red after a touch of 150 or 155, depending on where it goes, I'm likely going to weasel in. I don't know, again, exactly what expiration date I'm going to take and stuff like that, but I am very interested in getting into this short on CoreWeave, just waiting for the right setup. Sev11. Oh, I like that one.
Oh,
my
wow.
Man.
That's
Adara's giving you a round of applause there, man. $4.99 super chat. Hi, brother. Can you give TA on Archer, please? And everyone smash the like. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Even that loser in the morning that we told to get the hell out of here.
What was up with that guy?
You have the option to like and subscribe. This trade has unlimited upside.
Bang.
Hey, there's my guy. I happen to love this company, Joey. This is.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Exactly. But Archer, look, I was telling Brendo this morning, I kind of want to get in Joby and Archer because I don't know which one ends up winning, or maybe they both win. So I think I'm going to split my my entries on Archer and Joby, get a little here, a little there. But this is a great look, a great hold of the $10 area on Archer. That's an excellent ad, but what I'm seeing here are lower highs. So I absolutely love a break and take and a hold above 12.5. That kind of gives me the impression that we're done making lower highs. Just before we go to the ad, this is the daily on Joby, so you guys can get an idea who's doing better. It is very, very much Joby breaking out right now. Joby's at all-time highs. No, let me just do this real quick. Assassino, I know we're supposed to do the ad. I just want to see if we're all-time highs. Not quite yet. COVID highs still take us to about $18, Joey.
Yeah, thank you for that. All right, guys. New traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Then Soothing Nature, just to add on to this, Sharif says, Joseph and Sharif, predatory banking practices is a real thing.
Absolutely.
I was an ex-banker in the past, and I am a major stickler on this common characteristic of personal banking.
I respect the hell out of that comment.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anybody suffered real damage from that. Like, for example, if you open up an account and maybe it was misused or you were charged fees. I don't know. I don't know all the details. But there doesn't have to be actual damage suffered.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be opening up stuff under my account, and there shouldn't be that culture, that toxic culture inside of the company to kind of be doing these things that you shouldn't be doing. You got to keep it kosher. Obviously, it sounds super naive, but that's how I am. I'm just kind of a naive person. What do you think about this daily chart here on Joby?
That's really nice, man.
That's a good looking chart,
really,
eh?
Really nice. To me, that just signals a strong name, and I would be looking to slowly start to allocate on some pullbacks there.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Yeah.
So Joby, a great look there, and definitely something that I'm looking at getting into my long-term account. I guess, as I mentioned, looking at splitting it between Archer and Joby, but when you look at the TA here, there's no question Joby is the leader there. All right, let's go on to the next topic over here, Joey. Google spending more money, $25 billion over 2 years in AI and data center infrastructure across states powered by the PJM interconnection. I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure I can find out. The investment reflects surging power demand from AI workloads and the growing footprint, obviously, of the hyperscalers and data centers. That's all they've been doing the last 2 years. PJM is the largest grid in the U.S. It covers 13 states, including Northern Virginia. And apparently, all these data centers want to go to Northern Virginia. It is the world's top data center hub. I would have thought that would have been Silicon Valley. I guess not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was saying silicon, it's silicon.
Yeah, silicon.
It's the same to me. Well, I mean, yeah. You can't let me get away with those things.
Say that again, Assassino, because... All right, so Assassino wants me to go to Adara, but Chile Nightmare is letting me know how expensive real estate is in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, there you go.
Adara.
I looked into this. So the PJM interconnection, that's basically a regional transmission organization, and it manages the flow of electricity for a large portion of the Eastern Connection grid. It actually covers parts of 13 states and the District of Columbia. That makes it the largest power grid operator in the United States, and it serves 65 million customers. So that is the PJM interconnection. Back to you.
Always on point and always coming in with the good stuff. Thank you very much there, Adara. And Dorothy, you just made me chuckle up a storm because I was literally saying the same thing to your boy. As soon as I looked over, you had the same comment. Shout out to you, Dorothy. We think alike. Let's go on here, Joseph, because they're going to spend more money, $3 billion, to modernize 2 hydropower plants in Pennsylvania to support the, obviously, AI power needs. The hydropower upgrades here are tied to a framework deal with Brookfield, shout out to Mark Carney, for 3,000 megawatts of U.S. hydroelectric power. So they're just doing it in nuclear, they're doing it hydro as well. The investment timing obviously aligns with AI Policy Summit at Carnegie Mellon, attended by Trump cabinet officials and the tech energy executives. I don't know when this AI Policy Summit at Carnegie Mellon starts, probably something that I should know because that's kind of like super important. So let's go ahead and find out when the hell this thing starts. It starts tomorrow. I'll have a look. It looks like it might be starting tomorrow over here. Just I'll have a read after. Adara, thank you.
It's at 2:30 p.m. today.
Today.
So I didn't realize this was the same thing because they're calling it like an energy event, but I Googled it and apparently this event is happening at Carnegie Mellon University. So it seems like this might be the same thing. Either way, 2:30 p.m., so less than an hour today, we are going to get Donald Trump and others attending this event.
And your cabinet officials are going to be there as well. So maybe we'll see, I'm assuming we're going to have to see my buddy there. Well, he's not my buddy, but David Sachs, obviously AI, maybe the energy secretary as well. So I'm sure Adara will have that covered for you guys as soon as it does start. Starts at 2:30, so in less than an hour. Joey, any comments on this?
On Google, yeah,
Sir.
I mean, 25 billion over 2 years, Sharif. What does that tell me? There's still massive demand for this stuff. Okay. What is that going to tell me? I think that Google Cloud, I mentioned this before, is probably going to come in at a beat. I mentioned in the likes of NVDA with their autonomy sector, is that they're using approximately 250 iPhones for every 6 minutes of data or an hour of data used in this. Okay, so now we have Waymo, but then you also have the Google Cloud. So I think that's going to start to funnel into there. And then obviously the demand for cloud is going to continue to grow with all this AI boom. So that's why I'm going to be remaining bullish on Google. Never mind the search. I think that's going to be a thing of the past. ChatGPT and the single search engines are here now. We're not going to be that blue link society, as I mentioned before. But regardless, I still believe that Google Cloud is going to continue to grow, and that's going to drive the market because that's what Amazon, people look at Amazon and say, hey, okay, yeah, so what about the retail space? It's AWS, okay? So why can't Google be looked in the same aspect as that? Never mind that search. Obviously, it's such a massive part of the company.
It is, yeah.
But I think Google Cloud has the potential to kind of offset some of the losses that they're going to lose to GPT, Perplexity, Grok, et cetera.
Yeah, I agree. But you got to agree with me, though. You're a little worried about search. I mean, like, because that's their bread and butter and has been for a long time,
absolutely. Right? And I mean, obviously, with the likes of Google, Apple, how Google was paying Apple, we knew what was going on with there. You have to be worried about it, but it's like that Amazon. There's just so much in the pipeline for Google that eventually I think they'll be able to subsidize for those losses in search.
All right, let's talk about Bitcoin sliding a little bit, about 5% off the highs. Look, this one says all-time high of 122,833. I saw higher. I saw 123.3, so I'm going to go with that. Where is it at right now? Show yourself. We're at 117.3. We're down 2% on the day. Depends, again, when everybody's exchange restarts the trading day. So analysts cite profit taking really here mostly and macro uncertainty, especially with CPI, but I think that was an unknown that's behind us now. And on-chain activity as key drivers of the decline. I don't know what the hell that means. On-chain activity, did people see something on the chain they didn't like? I don't know. Over 1,800 BTC moved into Binance on one single day, with 35% of those from $1 million plus dollar transactions. Whale repositioning is seen, I should say, as a precursor to increased volatility, either to hedge or to secure the gains. Analysts at Crypto Quant highlight this as a critical signal tied to spot and derivatives activity. So, look, I expected a drop back down. I'm not going to. Bitcoin doesn't typically go in a straight line in that way. It just makes higher lows and higher highs. So
the only thing you can hope for is that you just, and I mentioned this time and time again, you just don't want it to go into another multi-month consolidation. right? Like, I mean, the move from 110 to 123, you can't really complain about that. Would I have liked to see in 136 or Michael Noss's bullish case 160? Absolutely. But unfortunately, things just don't go up into a straight line into the right. But I do think eventually we get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have no doubt about that. I gotta tell you, I don't even really care. It wants to consolidate because I have no intentions of selling.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, obviously you wanted to appreciate.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm I'm patient in a way where I don't think I've been patient in this way with any other equity that I've been involved
that's
in.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Like
I think
just holding.
Reasonably
this.
so, because it's just like a whole different asset class, right?
Exactly.
We talk about the likes of when Bitcoin hits $1 million, at that point it's equal to the market capitalization of gold, right?
That's when assuming gold stays the same though.
Assuming gold stays the same.
Which it probably
so,
will.
right? And multiple analysts are saying that it can exceed the market cap of gold. So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, stranger things have happened. NVIDIA gained about $3 trillion in 3 years.
And the thing is, though, Sharif, right now we look at it as a store value. Wait until there's an actual use case in this, and then I know it's obviously a bullish scenario in this, but things starting to be priced in Bitcoin because it's universal. One Bitcoin is the value of that. It doesn't matter where you go or anything. You know what I mean? So
and that's not the normal now, but
right,
when
you
does
never
it become?
you never know, right? You never know what can happen. So yeah.
I love it. All right, let's talk a little Tesla in India, because this is actually really interesting over here. And I don't think that this current story is going to stay the way it is. I think that there will be trade developments between India and the States that will change this whole thing. Get it, Adara. Tesla has officially launched the Model Y in India starting at $70,000 US, okay? The equivalent in rupees, obviously, well above the $45,000 that it sells for in the United States. The high price point places Tesla in the luxury EV segment, competing with BMW and not at all with the domestic automakers like Tata. The new Model Y debut coincides with the opening of Tesla's first showroom both in Mumbai and Delhi. Delhi, the showroom there is coming next. So the one in Mumbai already open. Tesla will begin hiring locally and set up experience centers as well as service and delivery networks, charging stations, or the superchargers, as well as logistics hubs all across India. This marks what's being called a strategic soft entry rather than a full-scale deployment, with infrastructure expansion signaling long-term interest. But let's talk about why the hell these cars are so expensive. Listen to this, Joey. India imposes 70% import tariffs on EVs and then another 30% luxury tax on the car, pushing the price significantly higher. Now, this is very common with gas-powered cars in some of the developing parts of the world. Why? Because a lot of these developing countries, they subsidize the gas so that people can move along and get commerce done, especially people with meager means, okay? And the fact of the matter is they don't want V8s and, V6s coming in and buying gas when the gas is being subsidized. So it made absolute sense that you'd have high import tariffs. And a lot of these countries, they place the import tariffs directly correlated to the displacement. So if you're a 3cc V6, you get charged less than a 4cc V8, for example. I'm just giving you any random numbers. What this has nothing to do with energy consumption from a traditional sense, and it's looking specifically only as a protectionist method. I think that is going to be front and center in the deal, the trade deal that Donald Trump makes with India. I can't imagine a world where 100% tariffs on American electric vehicles maintains the standard on to get into India. I mean, that's kind of crazy. 1 second there, Adara. So CFO of Tesla acknowledged that these hurdles signaled a cautious approach to the market. Analysts say Tesla won't threaten the mass market segment where the best sellers are often a tenth of the price, Adara.
Keep an eye here on MP, Sharif. We know MP Materials earlier today was actually announced having a deal with Apple. Then we got the Pentagon now commenting on the DoD deal with MP. announced last week, Pentagon saying their investment in MP Materials will secure near-term market for rare earths, and that they're going to continue working with the industry to ensure a resilient U.S. supply chain. We know rare earth minerals have been a huge aspect of these trade talks, specifically with China. So interesting look here for MP, not really reacting to this news. It does a little bit of a flat bottom here, guys. Back to you.
Here, analysts view this as Tesla kind of testing the waters with India rather than pursuing major volume or revenue. And Tesla has not yet committed to local manufacturing, which is a key for price competitive under India's new EV policy. President or Prime Minister Modi made it very clear to Elon in their meeting in New York that if you want to sell in India, you got to build in India, at least at a reasonable price. Analysts predict that local manufacturing could come, for Tesla that is, between 2028 and 2030, depending really on the battery ecosystem and the incentives. And just to give you an idea, the India-U.S. trade talks and the potential tariff reductions could influence Tesla's price and supply strategy out in India. You have to assume, Joseph, that 100% effective tariff, 70 on EVs and 30% on luxury tax, that's got to be a topic of discussion between Modi and Trump.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, there's another big name that we haven't really mentioned too much today, Sharif, that has tapped into the Indian markets, which I think is a big emerging one.
Okay.
And that's obviously going to be the likes of Apple.
Absolutely.
So I think this is going to be a positive sign. You want to. There's so many people, and I think they do have the ability to grow. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Tesla can do in India for sure.
Absolutely. And it's the world's most populous country now. Right. They're booming as an economy. And I'm sure Tesla wants to get a foothold there.
I'm pretty sure they have a AAA credit rating as well, too.
Can I say one thing, though? India and China, okay? Yeah. So the likelihood of Chinese EVs weaseling into India, probably not a great likelihood at the moment. So you got to feel that Tesla may have some competitive advantage there.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll have to see how that all works out. Purely speculatory on my part. Let's talk about Microsoft getting a price target boost from their friends at Wells Fargo. Analyst Michael Turin raised his Microsoft price target to $600, up $15 from $585, implying a nice little upside from Monday's close. He maintained his overweight rating, reaffirming strong conviction as Microsoft prepares to report earnings on July 30th. So if you're interested in that name, mark your calendars down there. The 30th of July, they do report. They're already up 30%, Microsoft that is, in the past 3 months. This is a almost $3.5 trillion company that's up 30% in 3 months. That's crazy. 19% year to date, easily outperforming the S&P. Fieldwork apparently shows continued strong demand for Microsoft's AI tools. I'm sure it's just Joey using Copilot all the time, supporting bullish expectations for both Q2 earnings as well as full year 2026. Microsoft is viewed as having an early lead in AI, especially in enterprise and cloud infrastructure. The guidance points about $100 billion in CapEx for full year 2026. I think they guided, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, 85 or mid 80s for 25. Which is going to be obviously another $15 billion extra. So it's increasing, not decreasing. And the analyst Turin believes this spend will further entrench Microsoft's AI advantage, especially as it scales solutions across the different industries.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. And I mentioned this before. I've heard it from multiple analysts, especially one of our fan favorites, Danny Ives. And I forget the other individual's name, but apparently we're not even pricing in about 20% of revenue increase from commercial cloud, with Azure that is. So that's why you've seen this name just continuously climb higher and higher. And it was the only one out of the big three that beat on cloud revenue. So I suspect really big things coming out of Microsoft, that's for sure.
I agree. I agree with that. Let's talk about this Apple MP Materials deal. So Apple's weaseling about $500 million into the rare earth supply chain vis-a-vis MP Materials. They are expecting to announce that $500 million deal. It's the only U.S.-based rare earth miner, according to Fox Business. It was Fox Business who broke this story. The move comes amid rising U.S. interest in securing domestic supply chain for critical materials used in both tech and defense. Again, I keep saying this, Canada is the most reliable source near the United States. We're obviously a trusted ally. We have a lot of cross-cultural similarities. A lot of us have family there, myself included. and we have materials, minerals, magnets, metals up the wazoo, okay? It's called the Ring of Fire. It's in this province. It's about a 3-hour drive from here. It's called Sudbury. You guys can Google it if you like, or chat GPT it. And the only reason that it's not, full scale right now is because the last 10 years were forgettable 10 years in this country, and hopefully that will be done, and we will be the monster commodity country that we can be. Let's go on here. MP recently inked a multi-billion-dollar deal with the U.S. government to ramp up production of rare earth magnets for EVs, electronics, military hardware. Apple reportedly plans to secure the source of magnets from MP's Texas facility, with commercial production expected to start by the end of this year. So they're wasting no time. In addition to the Texas site, Apple and MP plan to build a magnet factory out in Fort Worth and a recycling plant in Mountain Pass, California. The developments mark a major U.S. push to onshore rare earth production, as well as the recycling capabilities, reducing the reliance on China. Adara has breaking news.
We're now hearing QBTS. This one, pushing higher here. There is a note from James Altucher, who is an American hedge fund manager, author, podcaster. He's involved in the market. Basically, James Altucher is saying that D-Wave's offerings are crucial for the rapid deployment of real-world quantum applications. They believe that this could be a potential takeover target. So QBTS, again, no rumors or no reports, but speculation from one source that D-Wave, QBTS, could be a target for a potential acquisition or takeover. Back to you.
All right. 2, right? Assassino? Okay. Fantastic. I didn't even realize there were only 4 minutes left on the show. I had one more here, Joey, but I didn't give you an opportunity to comment on Apple and MP. How do you feel about this whole push there?
To get involved in some of these.
Yeah,
I think it's a long-term play. I think it's something smart. You want to lock up. Heard you say this morning. You want to lock up some of these resources for down the road. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, thankfully they're forward-thinking here now, not necessarily.
And it kind of threw me a little bit of a curveball. Let me tell you why. Because we know they design their own chips, but I wasn't under the impression that they were going to build. And even if they're not going to build, if you could make the argument that they're securing the supply chain for their suppliers, because they're the bigger name and the bigger pull. And so that's kind of what I was thinking there.
They can obviously increase margins with that being said.
That and get in Donald Trump's good books, because you're investing locally.
America.
$500 million. It's local rare earths. We know rare earths, obviously, very big to Donald Trump, because China is using it as a leverage tool right now in negotiations. Let's call a spade a spade. So, yeah, it's a good look all around. I don't think this is a bad move from Apple, other than the spending of the money, obviously. Anthropic launches financial AI suite for institutions. So the Claude tools here. Claude is Anthropic's LLM. Look, I didn't really get a chance to read this, but I'm going to leave this headline for you guys in case you're interested. But my understanding is Perplexity is fantastic for finance. Chamath was talking about it on the All In podcast on the weekend, basically going so far as to say, I don't know if he was joking or not, to cancel his Bloomberg terminal, which he views as archaic, in exchange for Perplexity. I know Wayner's on the other side over there has been using it. Obi was telling me he set up some stuff on it. So I'm going to give this one the old college try. I loaded it up a little bit today. I used it a few times. I mean, here it is. Let's have a look quickly. I asked it for a short interest on APA. It didn't know, right? It said it wasn't available publicly. And then I also asked it, what causes a wider spread even when there's sufficient volume? And it actually had some good answers. Order book liquidity, you guys can read this and pause it if you want. Increased volatility, information asymmetry, as well as order flow toxicity. Somebody asked me that in the chat earlier. I didn't get an opportunity to respond to them. Yeah, but to sum up, high volume does not guarantee tight spreads. The spread is fundamentally determined by order book structure, volatility, and risks faced by market makers rather than volume alone, just to kind of summarize that. So I think I'm going to keep my Perplexity up with ChatGPT basically every day for any of these financial questions, and not completely rely on it, but to see whether it kind of checks out. You know what I mean?
You're avoiding Co at all costs, eh?
Copilot? I don't mind Copilot. I have no problem with Microsoft.
All right.
I swear to you, Assassino, we good to go? All right, looking to trade futures, guys, like the Nasdaq, the SPY, or even Bitcoin. Well, guess what? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there. They give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital, and you pick your own path. You can choose the instant funded route, you can choose the challenge route, or even a pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. And in the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million and earned over 1,000 5-star reviews from real traders just like you. So if you're interested, use the discount code TTV to save on any account of your choice. Scan that QR code or head on over to toponefutures.com and start trading towards your next payout. Shout out to them, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so that is the end there. It is now 2 o'clock and maybe 30 seconds there. So we banked.
Ooh, you're banking it.
We're banking.
Banking it. All right.
And then we got the OB. We got the OB instead of.
They don't think we drink water, eh? A lot of people
drink
in the
a lot of water,
yeah,
man.
that's all literally all I drink. A lot of people in the chatter. Some people's wives are concerned that we're not hydrated enough, so I said that we stay hydration.
We very much do. Hydration nation.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shakib in the chat. I don't know if Shakib is there. But,
He's like, you guys talk all day. He said, my wife says we talk all day, and then we don't drink enough water. So, yes, ma'am, sorry. We will continue to drink our water. We apologize.
All right, guys. Joseph and I will be back, same bat time, same bat channel. See you, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Yes, I literally was drinking water.